Yoondeok was a shy first-year student running away from sports club recruiters, until a pretty girl grabbed his arm and dragged him to the basketball gym, thinking he was someone else. Forced to fill in for a practice game, he jumped up and attempted his first dunk, stunning everyone with his incredible height and power. Just then, the real player Hyejeong walked in, confused why someone was using his name on the court. However, before any of this, Yoondeok wakes up in his small apartment and starts getting ready for his first day of high school. Because of his tall height, even simple things like putting on his clothes or moving around the room feel awkward and troublesome. As he gets to school, a mix of excitement and worry fills his mind, but he glances at the students nearby, noticing how confident and lively they all seem. He can't help but wonder if he'll be able to fit in with them or if he'll just stand out awkwardly on his first day. While he's thinking that, he notices a girl staring at him, which makes him uneasy. He assumes she's just curious about his height, but then he realizes she isn't that much shorter than him. Before he can think more about it, the girl smiles and greets him politely. A little later, the principal stands on stage and announces that their school is a designated activity-based learning institution. This means that all of the students will be encouraged and expected to actively participate and get involved in club activities at the school. Moreover, they have to choose a club very carefully and thoughtfully so they can fill up their time at Korea High School with passion. Furthermore, the principal says that there is a gym located outside of the building where their upperclassmen are currently waiting and standing by, ready and prepared to recruit the new students to join their clubs. Right after hearing this, Yoondeok and the other new students who just arrived head out of the room to find all of the upperclassmen waiting there with big signboards held up for them to see. However, two boys standing nearby are taken aback when they see Yoondeok walking toward them. They joke among themselves, wondering if he's getting a piggyback ride from someone because of how tall he looks compared to everyone else. One of the boys then steps forward and tells Yoondeok that he should definitely try out for the volleyball team. But before Yoondeok can respond, the other boy quickly joins Oswell, saying that someone like him is clearly built for soccer instead. Afterwards, two of them starts arguing about whether Yoondeok should their clubs, but Yoondeok senses some kind of danger. Yoondeok then starts running away from there, but another boy appears in front of him, asking if he want to join their American football team. However, Yoondeok just runs through him and manages to hide behind a building. Another guy comes up to Yoondeok, but Yoondeok punches him right away, and since it's a dead end, he looks around, not knowing where to run. Just then, the pretty girl from the assembly shows up and tells him to follow her. They both hide behind some bushes together. The girl explains to Yoondeok that the basketball team usually meets and practices at the gym in the school building, but since he left that place already, she decided to follow him to find him. She also tells him that she heard from other people that he is really tall and that trouble always seems to find him wherever he goes. When Yoondeok hears her say all of these things, he starts to think that she is probably mixing him up with someone else, so he tries his best to look for his name tag. Before Yoondeok can explain the mistake, the girl grabs him by the arm and takes him along with her down the hallway. They finally arrive at the basketball club room where everyone is waiting, and the girl shouts out loud to everyone there that she brought Hyejeong with her just like they asked. Earlier, the basketball coach told the first year to gather up in a line and introduced himself as Taeho Kwon, the basketball coach of Korea High. He then tells second and third years to say hello who don't seem interested at all. One of them named Jiho Shin wonders if there is no center material this year either, but he says that he heard a tall guy was entering this year. Juno wonders if his name was Hyejeong, and then everyone starts talking about Hyejeong. However, the coach thinks that Jiho is not wrong at all about what he is saying because their basketball team really needs a big man who can play in the center position. He knows that the reason is that the tallest first-year student they have is of a decent and okay height, but he does not look strong enough or powerful enough to be a starting center player for the team. Back in the present, the girl brings Yoondeok along with her to meet everyone, and she introduces him by saying that he is Hyejeong who they have been waiting for. However, Yoondeok tries his best to tell all of them that he is not the Hyejeong that they are actually looking for, but as soon as he tries to say, the coach quickly stops him and tells him that they need to have a private talk. Meanwhile, the boys on the team start whispering quietly to each other about Hyejeong and the girl who is standing right beside him, and they wonder if she is their team manager or something like that. Meanwhile, Yoondeok finally decides to tell the girl and the coach that he isn't Hyejeong. The girl quickly apologizes, saying she thought any first-year student that tall had to be him. The coach looks surprised and asks how Yoondeok could have that kind of height and build if he's never played basketball before. After that, the coach hands Yoondeok a basketball uniform and tells him to put it on. He then explains that they were supposed to have a 5-on-5 practice game, but since they only have 9 players, he wants Yoondeok to fill in for just 10 minutes. Once everyone is ready, the coach calls them to their positions and Jiho turns to Yoondeok, telling him to make sure to get the ball for their team. Yoondeok thinks everyone still believes he's Haezong, but he decides not to say anything since the coach told him it's better if they don't find out yet. When the game starts, Yoondeok and Jukil go for the jump ball, and Yoondeok wins it by passing the ball to his teammate right away. The game keeps moving fast, and after some quick passes, the ball comes back to Yoondeok, leaving him a little confused about what to do. At that same moment, the real Haezong shows up and looks shocked, wondering why everyone is calling his name. Meanwhile, Yoondeok suddenly jumps high and makes a powerful dunk, leaving the whole gym in surprise. After that, the ball nearly goes into the basket, but Yoondeok loses his balance and falls to the floor since he's never played basketball before. While he's still on the ground, Haezong walks over to him and asks who he is, saying he's never seen anyone that tall around here. Then, Haezong turns to everyone else, introduces himself properly, and apologizes for showing up late. With a small laugh, he adds that he didn't know there would be another Haezong already on the court. When everyone hears that, they all get really shocked and start wondering if this person is the real Haezong standing in front of them, then who exactly is Yoondeok that they have been playing with the whole time. Right after this, the coach takes the time to explain everything to all of them, and he says that it was at his personal request that Yoondeok joined and participated in their game while pretending to be Haezong for them. However, Yoondeok quickly says that since the real Haezong is finally here with them now, he can finally leave the team and go back to his normal life. The coach immediately tells him that the other player on the team cannot play in the upcoming games because he got injured and is hurt, so Yoondeok has to continue playing with the team for now. After that, the other boys can't believe what they're seeing, two tall players like giants going against each other on their school basketball court. Haezong looks at Yoondeok and tells him that he's not going to go easy on him just because he's new to basketball. Right after saying that, Haezong grabs the ball, rushes past Yoondeok in a blur, and makes an easy shot into the basket. Watching that, the girl turns to the coach and says she heard that Haezong is good at mid-range shots and even three-pointers. The coach explains that Haezong not only has great aim but also moves with surprising speed for someone with his big frame and strength. The coach still can't believe that a player with that kind of skill is actually from their school. The game keeps going, and Yoondeok quickly rushes in front of Haezong, trying to make it hard for him to move past. Even so, Haezong manages to recover and get the ball back, but everyone starts wondering if he's trying to play the whole game by himself. Then, Haezong makes a fast drive toward the basket and goes straight at Yoondeok to score, but Yoondeok jumps high and blocks his shot. The impact knocks both of them off balance, and they fall hard to the floor together. After that, Haezong says that Yoondeok definitely isn't a beginner. He explains that he could tell the moment Yoondeok tried to dunk as it looked like a perfect shot, but he seemed to hold back on purpose. Haezong also points out that Yoondeok didn't go for the rebound even though his reflexes clearly showed experience. Then he asks why Yoondeok is hiding what he can really do, and everyone starts whispering, wondering if Yoondeok had lied about never playing before. Hearing that, Yoondeok goes quietly and sinks into his own dark thoughts, thinking that getting more involved will only pull him back into the past he's been trying to escape. He quickly grabs his things and tells everyone that he needs to go to class, then runs out of the basketball gym in a hurry. While rushing down the hallway, Yoondeok realizes he's still wearing the team's uniform, but he decides he'll return it later and focus on finding his classroom first. After some searching, he changes back into his school uniform and stands nervously outside the classroom door. He thinks about how he planned to come early, sit quietly, and not draw attention, but now that plan is already ruined. Taking a deep breath, he opens the door and steps inside, only to see a few guys picking up a nerdy student. Yoondeok quietly walks to his desk, and the moment the bullies notice his tall figure, they freeze for a second, clearly intimidated. Afterward, the bullies continues with their torment with that nerd, as they even unlocks his phone and finds out that this nerd is actually interested in basketball. Moreover, this fatty has his own YouTube channel with just 78 subscribers, so the bullies thinks that he need a video to get him some views, so they asks him if he know how to dance. Just then, the fatty tries to get back his phone, but then the girl from before arrives and starts recording them. Seeing her, Yoondeok realizes that the basketball girl is actually in the same exact class as he is at school. The girl then tells the bullies to give back the fatty's phone to him right now and apologize to him for what they did, but then another guy who is with the bullies walks up to the girl and reaches out and grabs her hand tightly. Just at that exact moment, Yoondeok decides to interfere and get involved in the situation, and he pushes the guy hard against the wall after holding and gripping his hands very tightly to stop him. The guy who's now pushed against the wall yells at one of his friends, telling him to stop just standing there and do something. Hearing that, his friend immediately charges toward Yoondeok with his fist raised, ready to punch. In that exact moment, as Yoondeok sees him coming, he realizes and accepts the truth: his hopes for a quiet and peaceful high school life are officially gone. Just then, another boy steps in and blocks the bully's punch, and he tells Yoondeok to let go of the other guy's hand now before things get worse. The boy then looks at the bully and asks if he wants to keep fighting or if he has some kind of problem with them. Later, class starts, and luckily the situation does not turn into anything serious, because their homeroom teacher comes in soon enough. The teacher then gives a longer explanation about their extracurricular programs and says that since Korea High is a school focused on activities, they offer many different clubs and programs instead of following a strict admission-focused curriculum. Moreover, the classes are held during the first 4 periods, and after that the students go to lunch and then do extracurricular activities, and everyone is required to join at least one club or team. Meanwhile, Yoondeok feels nervous and keeps thinking about which club he should join, but then the same girl from earlier shows up again, and this time she introduces herself properly by saying that her name is Yoonji. When they are standing there, the other guy speaks up and says that his name is Junu and that he also wants to join the club, and Yoonji smiles and thanks him for helping her before. Yoonji then asks Yoondeok if he have played basketball before, and Yoondeok apologizes for lying, saying now he is in high school he wanted to try things that are less rough. Afterward, Junu tells Yoondeok that they can go search for a club together, but then the nerd from before thanks them for their help and introduces himself as Taebin. Taebin tells Yoonji that he's more interested in writing sports articles, so he plans to join the broadcasting team because he wants to become a sports journalist in the future. After that, Junu takes Yoondeok along with him, while Yoonji tells Taebin to come with her. She leads him to a third-year classroom, and a moment later, a guy named Dohun shows up, someone Yoonji clearly knows. Later, the two of them sit outside together, and Yoonji asks Dohun if he's still in contact with her brother. Dohun says they still talk from time to time, but then he adds that she must have come to ask about the basketball team and him if he can come back. Hearing that, Taebin freaks out and starts panicking because he thinks right away that Dohun really quit basketball, and Yoonji tells Dohun that this is the kind of reaction people have when they hear he stopped playing. Yoonji quickly says that the ace from Yusung Junior High, Haezong, has also come to their school, and she also says that there is another guy in her class who is super tall, like over 6 feet, and he also wants to play on the team. But Dohun says that his record from last year at the national games was only average, and after saying that, he apologizes and walks away. Meanwhile, Junu and Yoondeok are still struggling to find any club that fits them, but then Yoonji shows up and asks Yoondeok to join the basketball team again and start playing once more. The next day, Yoondeok looks at the basketball jersey and thinks about yesterday. Yesterday at the cafeteria, Yoonji asked Yoondeok if there is another reason he don't want to play anymore, because Haezong told her that it didn't look like he played basketball for fun. Furthermore, she adds that he told her that Yoondeok couldn't hide himself because the basics were strongly ingrained in him and it shows how passionate he were once. Afterward, Yoondeok tells her that he started basketball in junior high and the coach saw how tall he was, so he recruited him right away. He tells her that everyone had expectations for him because of his height, and because of that he quit and ran away from basketball. Hearing that, Yoonji tells him that she used to feel like every move she made was being watched and judged, and it always felt like everyone's eyes were on her, but then one day she started playing basketball and slowly gained a new kind of confidence. She then tells him to try letting go of all the anxiety and worries and asks him if there is anything he actually likes about playing basketball. In that moment, Yoondeok starts wondering if it might really be okay for him to start again. Back in the present time, Yoondeok returns to the basketball team together with Junu, and they both get accepted without anyone objecting. A week later, when they are officially confirmed as members and start full training, it finally hits Yoondeok that he is actually back on the basketball court again. While practicing, Yoondeok runs into Jaeyoung-min, who is also having a hard time just like him, and then he looks around and sees Jiho already lying on the ground as if he fainted from exhaustion. Meanwhile, Yoonji and the coach think that Jiho and Jaeyoung-min, who look almost like twins, have stronger endurance than the rest of the players on the team. The coach then explains to her that most of the athletes who come to their school are there because they could not make it into the well-known high school teams, and that these simple basic tests clearly show the reasons why each of them failed their entrance tryouts. After that, they watch Haezong, and it turns out he is performing better than everyone else, so the coach tells Yoonji that this is the reason Haezong chose to come to their school in the first place. Right at that moment, a strange guy walks into the gym and suddenly starts picking a fight with Haezong. After that, Haezong gets really angry, but the guy tells him that he can struggle and squirm all he wants, because he still will not be able to make it into the All-Korea Games with a team like this. Hearing those words, Jiho also becomes furious and asks the guy if he came here just to start a fight with them. However, the guy says that he actually came with good news, so there is no reason for them to act so defensive. He then explains that Taeyang-hai is planning to suggest a warm-up match either tomorrow or the day after, and he says he overheard that Haizong is a first year there, which is why he is telling them now. Later on, Yoonji tells Taebin, Yoondeok, and Junwoo that Taeyang-hai will be asking for a warm-up match, and she mentions that some guy came to deliver the message and he seemed to know Haizong personally. Hearing that, Taebin asks her what the guy looked like, and when she describes him, he quickly pulls out his phone and shows a video of the same guy. Taebin explains that his name is Taejun, and he used to be the center of Yusung Junior High, known for his bold and risky post-up plays because of his height and strong, solid build. But after Haizong transferred to the team and joined them, Taejun got pushed out of the starting lineup. Junwoo then asks Taebin if Taeyang-hai is really that strong, so Taebin tells him that Taeyang-hai always makes it to the All-Korea Games as the representative of their province, and that Haizong alone will not be enough to fight against a team like them. Meanwhile, Haizong goes to meet Dohun, and Dohun is surprised when he sees him there. Haizong tells him that he watched videos of his games from last year, and he says he really wants him to return to the basketball team. But when Dohun tries to refuse, Haizong quickly adds that they have a warm-up match against Taeyang-hai next week. He also says that he needs Dohun's help because their goal is to make it into the All-Korea Games, but Dohun thinks that Haizong is just dreaming too big, like someone who has read too many comics. Haizong then reminds him again that last year Dohun actually had a real chance, but things fell apart because some of the other players were not serious or dedicated enough during the games. He then tells Dohun that if he still cannot make up his mind, he should at least come and watch the warm-up match, and he promises that he will show him that they really do have a chance this time. The next day, everyone begins training even harder than before, and they spend 7 whole days practicing like total maniacs without slowing down at all. Finally, the day of the warm-up match arrives, and Yoondeok becomes extremely nervous and he thinks that Haizong looks completely aware of how important this game is. After that, Dohun also arrives at the stadium to watch the match and everyone becomes really excited the moment they see him. Dohun tells them that he only came to cheer for them and asks how their practice and preparation went, but Jiho says that Haizong is going to crush it in this match and then asks Dohun if he is thinking about giving basketball another try. Dohun says that he just heard they were playing against Taeyang-hai, so he came to give them moral support. On the other side of the court, Haizong bows to Dohun first and then quickly dribbles straight toward the basket, and he makes a smooth trick shot that goes in perfectly. Seeing this, Dohun wonders if Haizong did that just for him to watch, while the players on Taeyang's team look confused and wonder if what they saw was real or just some kind of bold challenge. After that, Taejun gets the ball and dribbles toward the basket as well, but before he can take the shot, another player from his team jumps up and shoots the ball himself. When the coach sees this, he immediately realizes that the player is number 7, Songyu Seo, a second-year forward who is the ace of Taeyang-hai and also the captain for next year. The coach also tells the team that their captain, Jumo, who is a third year, is someone to pay attention to, but judging from their warm-up, it looks like Taeyang-hai will mostly use their first and second-year players in this match. Jiho wonders if Taeyang-hai is really thinking they can beat them without using their third year, so Yoonji explains that Taeyang wants to check the level of their first year and they probably see this match as the perfect chance to do that. Yoonji then tells the coach that she thinks Taeyang-hai's number 7 will put a lot of pressure on Haizong, along with number 5 helping him. Then Yoonji reveals that number 7, Songyu Seo, is actually her older brother, and she says that he usually jumps in with full effort and always tries to go head-to-head with anyone who plays well. Meanwhile, Taeyang's coach tells his team that this match will be easier than they expected because Dohun is not playing, which is different from what they originally thought. At the same time, some people in the crowd start whispering and wondering who the tall guy is, and that tall guy turns out to be Yoondeok. Taeyang's coach then tells his players that the only thing he is worried about is Yoondeok, because it is his first time seeing a body like that in the high school league, and Yoondeok does not even seem to warm up properly. After that, Yoondeok's coach begins placing everyone in their positions, putting Juno as the point guard and Jaeyoung-min as the shooting guard, along with the others in their usual spots, but Yoondeok is the one who will be playing as the center. Afterward, the match begins and Team Taeyang-hai gets shocked that Haizong is not the one starting the match but it's Yoondeok. Dohun recalls that Yoonji told him about the first year who is going to start in Haizong's place. A few days earlier, the coach told Yoondeok that he is their joker pick for the match against Taeyang, meaning that Yoondeok will be the one chosen because the other team would not expect him at all. Back in the present, Taejun looks at Yoondeok and wonders who this guy even is, but then Jiho steps in and tells Taejun and Seo that Yoondeok is the real deal, and he says that Yoondeok is even better than Haizong, so they might not even need Haizong anymore. It turns out that this is all part of the coach's plan to make it seem like Yoondeok is their main ace who even outshines Haezong. When the game starts, Yoondeok and Taejun jump for the ball, but Yoondeok quickly taps it over to his own side. Seeing that play, the other team thinks that it has been a long time since Taejun actually lost the opening tip like that. Right after, Yoondeok quickly moves close to their basket because it will put even more pressure and strain on the opposing team. Earlier, the coach had explained to them that in the beginning, the other team would probably use a 2-3 defense, expecting Haezong to stay near the basket, and to deal with that, Jiho and Jaeyoungmin should stay in the wing and corner spots, which are harder for the defense to guard. Back in the present moment, Yoondeok runs forward to draw the defender's attention and catches the ball easily, and then he quickly passes it to Jiho, who shoots a clean three-pointer. After that, the coach thinks to himself that Taeyang-hai has no information about their team, while they actually know plenty about Taeyang. Meanwhile, Yoondeok starts struggling against Taejun, who forces his way inside by pushing forward and then suddenly swings to the right once before swerving to the left and driving straight toward the basket. However, Taejun makes a fake move and then tries to shoot from a different angle, since he realizes that Haezong must have taught Yoondeok how to read his patterns. But even so, Yoondeok still manages to block the shot, which shocks everyone watching, and the ball ends up flying out of Taejun's hand. After that, Seo walks up to Yoondeok and tells him that he is really talented but says he is confused because he has never seen him before in any games. Right then, Jiho jumps in and says that the reason no one has seen Yoondeok is because he used to play basketball in America, which surprises everyone, but since this is part of their plan, they all have to keep acting like it is true. Hearing that, everyone starts to understand that this is the reason they have never seen Yoondeok before, and more importantly, Taejun begins to get nervous because he cannot believe that Korea High has a player with experience from overseas. At that moment, there are only about 12 seconds left, so Taejun's teammate tells him to hurry because they are running out of time, but Yoondeok pushes against Taejun, forcing him to quickly pass the ball to another teammate. The teammate then shoots toward the basket, but the ball hits the rim and bounces back, and Yoondeok jumps in and grabs the rebound right away, which shocks everyone watching. After that, the ball goes to one of Yoondeok's teammates, but Yoondeok notices that he is having a hard time holding on, so he steps in front of him and blocks the defender, and the teammate quickly passes the ball to another player who then shoots it into the basket and scores. It turns out that Taeyang-hai is struggling to keep their formation together, while Taeyang's coach starts thinking that Yoondeok is actually shaking their whole defense by himself and he cannot tell if Yoondeok really has played overseas or not. Taeyang coach also thinks to himself that Seo really needs to step in and show himself and his skills earlier than they originally planned for him to play in the game. Right after the coach finishes thinking, Seo uses his quick ball switching skills and abilities to move past Yoondeok and get around him successfully. He then shoots the basketball directly into the basket to score points for his team. After some time, the score for both of the teams becomes equal and they are tied up with each other, and everyone who is watching the game starts thinking that Seo is really getting fired up right now and playing at a very high level of skill. They realize that both teams have completely caught up to each other in total points, so Seo truly is the ace player for a very strong and good reason. Right after that, the ball goes to the guy with glasses from Korea High, and he quickly shoots and lands three-pointer shots one after another in a row. Now, Korea High is in the lead and winning again with those 3 successful three-pointer shots in a row that he just made. After that, there is a timeout, and Taeyang's coach starts scolding the whole team, saying that Seo is the only one scoring while the rest of them are just running behind Korea High and falling behind in every play. The coach then decides that they will switch to a man-to-man defense, and from now on, they must defend while keeping full awareness of the three-point line. Right then, one of the players tells the coach that he noticed something about number 30 and number 20 on Korea High, saying that both of them have been breathing hard and running much slower for a while now. On the other hand, Korea High's coach asks Jaeyoungmin and Jiho if they can keep it up, and he also notices that Yoondeok is struggling to breathe well because of an exhausting run. Afterward, both teams return to the court, and everyone watching notices that there are still no substitutes from either team, which means Korea High is still holding up just fine. The basketball game continues, with Seo dribbling the ball smoothly and skillfully in front of Jiho, who tries his best to block him. Then, Seo suddenly speeds up, runs past Jiho with ease, and shoots the ball straight into the hoop, adding more points to his team's score. Right after that scoring play, the ball is passed to Korea High's team, and they quickly notice that the opposing defense has switched to man-to-man coverage. One of the players from Korea High tries his best to pass the ball to Jiho, who's ready to receive it, but Seo intercepts the play, stepping in just in time to steal the ball before the pass can reach him. Afterward, Seo passes the basketball to his teammate who is in a better position, and the teammate quickly throws the ball into the basket and scores important points for their team. When the Korea High coach sees what's happening on the court, he realizes that Taeyang High has caught up from behind. He notices that the twin players on his team are completely worn out from playing so hard. Taking advantage of that, Taeyang High begins to launch non-stop fast break plays, attacking without rest. Their defense also tightens up, blocking every three-pointer with an airtight wall that doesn't let anything through. Right after this strategy starts working really well for them, the match continues moving forward with Jaeyoungmin struggling and having a very hard time trying to throw the basketball into the basket to score any points. Taejun takes full advantage of the situation that is happening and steals the ball away from him, and then he passes it back to Seo very quickly before anyone on the other team can react or do anything about it. Right after Taejun passes him the ball, Seo jumps high into the air and throws the basketball straight into the hoop, scoring more points. Yoondeok thinks that he can't keep up with Seo running back and forth across the court like that anymore because he is already worn out and tired from playing the whole match. Finally, since Seo is also breathing heavily and running out of stamina from playing so intensely, it becomes the perfect moment for Korea High to send out their own ace player, Haezong, to enter the court. Afterward, the referee gives a white substitution and Yoondeok, Jiho, and Jaeyoungmin are out while Haezong, Jiyoon and Minseong gets in the game. Junwoo tells Yudeong that he is so good that the goggle-eyed number 5 couldn't do a thing because of him, and Yoonji also adds that they wouldn't even know he is new, so he did a great job. The match begins with Haezong going face to face with Seo, and the audience members thinks that this suspense is something unique. On the other hand, Seo tells Haezong that when he imagined their duel, he didn't picture himself tired, so he thinks that this is an advantage for him. Just then, Seo runs past Haezong quickly, but Haezong manages to steal the ball from him quickly and throws the ball in the basket. Just then, Taejun comes face to face with Haezong on the court and tries to pick a fight with him to intimidate him, and when another guy on the team sees this happening, he thinks to himself that this time Taejun will not be scoring any points today at all. Taejun then passes the basketball towards Seo, who is waiting to receive it, but Haezong quickly intercepts the pass and catches it before it reaches Seo because he noticed and figured out that their team's offense always starts with Seo getting the ball first. Right after stealing the basketball away from the other team, Haezong sprints as fast as he possibly can toward the basket that is on the other side of the court, and he jumps really high into the air where he twists and turns his body in a smooth and controlled spin move, and then he slams the ball down through the hoop with a strong and loud dunk that echoes through the gym. When everyone in the gym sees this incredible play happen right in front of their eyes, they all freeze completely in shock and surprise, and they start talking to each other and wondering out loud what kind of unbelievable and amazing move they just witnessed with their own eyes. Finally, the quarter of the game is about to end and come to a close, and Jiho thinks to himself that Haezong is really impressive and talented because he just came out of the bench where he was waiting, and he took complete control of the court by storm as soon as he started playing. After that, Taejun's team switches their plan to offense, and Seo quickly receives the ball and shoots it toward the basket, and with that the intermission begins. Meanwhile, back at school, the homeroom teacher tells the class that the students who are on cleanup duty should not forget and must do their job properly. He also mentions that the basketball team is having a warm-up match in the gym, so if anyone is interested, they should go watch and cheer for the team. Hearing this, Taebin suddenly stands up and runs out of the classroom, realizing they are probably right in the middle of the second quarter. Afterward, Taebin enters the gym to find that it's a close game, and then he quickly asks Yoonji what happened, as it seems like it's only a goal's difference. Meanwhile, Haezong quickly scores the goal by throwing the ball into the basket. Yoonji explains that in 6 minutes, they already scored 14 points and their guards and Yoondeok were so good earlier, keeping the gap narrow, and now Haezong is on a scoring streak. Now that the score is same, Seo gets the ball and he quickly swerves around and throws the ball at the basket using his turnaround fadeaway. When Yoonji sees what is happening on the basketball court, she says that Taeyang High is not just sitting by and watching the game happen. Moreover, she adds that it is turning into a constant seesaw game where both teams keep going back and forth with the lead. Right after she says that, Junwoo turns to Taebin and asks him if basketball games are usually this nerve-wracking and intense to watch, so Taebin responds by saying that it really depends on the specific match they are watching. Afterward, Taebin starts to set up his camera equipment because he thinks to himself that this game will definitely be worth recording and saving to watch again later. Then some of Taebin's classmates and friends also arrive at the gym, and they get really excited and happy when they see that he is recording the entire game on video. After that, the boys also recognize Yoonji, Yoondeok, and Junwoo sitting in the stands and realize that they came to support the team. Junwoo explains that Yoondeok was actually in the starting lineup, but now he is just taking a short break. The boys then tell Yoondeok that he is more than just his height and they believe he has real potential, but Yoondeok quietly thinks to himself that those big expectations and some past accidents are what made him quit before. However, Yoonji quickly remembers that situation and steps in to defend him, telling the boys that Yoondeok only just started playing basketball again, so they shouldn't put too much pressure on him. After that, the game continues again and Haezong quickly passes the ball to one of his teammates, who immediately shoots it and scores in the basket. Meanwhile, the boys ask Taebin about the other team, and Taebin explains that Taeyang High is really strong and they always win their province tournament and even make it to the All-Korea Games. He also adds that their third years are not playing right now, but Korea High also doesn't have their own third-year ace on the court either. At the same time, Taeyang's coach tells his players that Haezong is not as impressive as he expected, but then, when he looks over at Korea High's bench, he suddenly realizes something. It finally hits him that everything happening on the court has been going exactly the way Korea High's coach planned from the beginning. Afterwards, Yoondeok and the others also enters the court and everyone starts cheering for Yoondeok while the other people thinks that those might be the key players from Korea High. The match then continues with the other team's player wondering where he should pass the ball as there's no space under the net. Suddenly, Korea High's player steals the ball from him and then when the other player passes the ball back to Jiho and then he throws it back to the basket and scores points for the team. However, Jiho asks Yoonji if she is recording because he is doing 100% of very best. Then, Jaeyoungmin tells him to shut up as that was only his second shot in this game. When the crowd sees Jiho and Jaeyoungmin coming back onto the court, people start thinking that Korea High is probably trying to change their offense and make their plays more flexible. Now that they are back, Haezong will have a lot more freedom to move around and score points. The game continues with Haezong holding the ball and leading the play. Yoonji watches closely and thinks to herself that now that Haezong is playing in a forward position instead of center, the height difference between him and his defenders will actually help him. She knows this gives their team a clear advantage. Right after she thinks that Haezong throws the basketball and it goes straight into the hoop, scoring a goal for his team. Then the ball goes to Taeyang's team and they quickly score another goal to keep the game close. After that, the Taeyang players try to stop Haezong but Yoondeok steps in and blocks them. Right away, Haezong runs fast toward the basket and throws the ball in again to score more points for his team. Taebin then explains to his classmate that this is what a counted basket means when a player gets fouled while shooting, but the ball still goes in, it counts toward the score. After that, the game keeps going, and Haezong, who is no longer stuck playing as the center, starts running freely like a horse with no reins. Meanwhile, the third-year players from Taeyang High start warming up, and to stop Haezong, their team begins to show their real power on the court. Soon after, the first-year players are replaced by the third years, and everyone watching believes these upperclassmen are the real main players of Taeyang High. After that, the third years walk up to Haezong and Yoondeok and start talking nonsense just to waste their time. One of them even says to Yoondeok that Haezong looks scary and strong, but Yoondeok himself can't really score any points. The match starts again with Haezong holding the ball in his hands, but the third-year players double-team him and block his way completely. Seeing no other choice available to him, Haezong passes the ball to Yoondeok, who is standing open without a defender on him. At that moment, Yoondeok suddenly gets flashbacks of his past experiences, remembering how people doubt him and question why he is even in the starting lineup of the team. Just then, Jiho yells at him to take the shot and not hesitate, and Yoondeok finally throws the ball toward the basket, but it hits the rim and bounces back without going in. The match then continues with both teams playing hard and Taebin notices that Taeyang High is using the 5-out motion offense. This means that all 5 offensive players start outside the 3-point line, and it is used against zone defense with heavily guarded low-post areas, which is what they are doing right now. Generally, the goal is luring the defensive center away from the basket for this strategy to work properly. Afterward, the ball gets to a third-year player who pulls out a 3-pointer shot that goes inside the basket successfully. Taebin tells his classmates that this is their top strength and what makes them so dangerous on offense. Now, Haezong gets the ball but he is struggling against another third year who flexes in front of Haezong that he is rock solid because he does 375 pounds of squatting and 410 pounds of deadlifting. Hearing that, Haezong quickly swings around to try to make a play, but he again gets a double team from 2 third-year players surrounding him. Because of Yoondeok who cannot score well, Taeyang High starts to close in on Haezong even more and guards him tighter, and with their lead scorer compromised like this, Korea High cannot score any points. The ball then gets to a ginger-head third-year player who tries to run away from his defender, so Yoondeok tries to follow him closely, but the third year passes the ball to another guy who then easily scores without much trouble. Moreover, Taeyanghai's tight plays are framed around stopping Haizong completely, so they are difficult for Yoondeok to break in on and disrupt. Seeing that situation unfold, the coach of Korea High thinks that the score gap widens as the game proceeds and goes on. Meanwhile, the Korea High player thinks that they really have to score this time around, as the gap should not get any wider than it already is, and Haizong is too tightly guarded, so there is no chance to pass to him either. He then looks around at his teammates and realizes that Jaeyoungmin is in a mismatch against his defender, and Jiho is struggling with his matchup, and running non-stop since quarter 1 certainly drains him of energy. Just then, the third year steals the ball from him suddenly and he thinks that this is finally their end and they will lose, but then Haizong runs past him like a beast to chase the ball down. After that, Haizong accidentally grabs the third year player's hand, which counts as a foul. Realizing his mistake, he quickly apologizes and tells the Korea High player to pass the ball to him faster next time. Even with Haizong's great plays, Korea High still can't find a way to break through Taeyanghai's defense and fails to close the score gap. Then, Haizong manages to throw the ball into the basket again, and this makes the third-year player think to himself that Haizong still has some solid post-up moves left in him. Meanwhile, the people watching the match think that Haizong scratching and clawing alone will not do anything to help them win, as in last year's qualifying round between Korea High vs Myeongsun High, it is the same situation with Dohun as none of his teammates can score points. At that match, Dohun has 34 points and 7 assists, and he still cannot save his team from losing, and everyone thinks if only Dohun has one teammate who could help him out. On the other hand, Dohun thinks about the time when Haizong comes to invite him to join their team, as if they qualify for all Korea games, they will really need his help and support. In the end, the time runs out and Taeyang wins the match with almost 100 points on the scoreboard. The third year tells Yoondeok that being scoreless was the giveaway as he suspected that, but other than that, he thinks that Yoondeok did a great job and if he keep practicing shooting, he will be formidable. Moreover, even Seo thinks that Yoondeok, the American guy, could become much better with just a little more training. Although Yoondeok's team ends up getting crushed by the key players of Taeyang High in the end, what they managed to do before those players entered was a big surprise to everyone. On top of that, the video Taebin recorded makes their classmates even more interested in the basketball team, and soon everyone starts crowding around Yoondeok, asking him all kinds of questions. Yoonji quickly steps in to rescue him, saying they have to go for practice. But once they leave, she admits that she lied just so they could go to a snack bar together. As they walk there, Yoondeok realizes that the game has changed their lives in many good ways. Meanwhile, Dohun sits alone in his room, still thinking deeply about basketball, and he remembers what the third-year captain from Taeyang High once said to him. Back then, Dohun had told the captain that Seo had improved a lot, but the captain warned him not to say that in front of Seo, since he might steal some of that confidence for himself. Then, the captain asked Dohun if he really thought he belonged on that side of the fence. Back in the present, after thinking it all through, Dohun finally decides to return to the basketball gym once again. Afterward, Taebin quickly opens his camera and starts vlogging for his channel, showing his viewers something that they have been waiting for ages to see, the Big Three of Korea High. He first shows Dohun playing basketball on the court with his amazing skills, and then he shows Haizong, who is a monster rookie taking the court by storm with his talent. Lastly, he says that there is another rookie who is even taller with a physique even NBA players would envy and want, and that player is Yoondeok. Junwoo then tells Taebin that he is like a whole new person with the camera on and filming, and he does a great job with his vlogging content. On the other hand, Yoonji tells Yoondeok that it must be the pressure of being filmed by cameras, so he should give it another try and not worry about it. Yoondeok then tries to throw the ball into the basket again, but he always misses his shot no matter how hard he tries. Seeing that happen, Taebin wonders why he is having a hard time scoring points, as even in their last game, he cannot score at all during the match. Later that evening, Yoondeok finds the basketball club's light on in the gym, so he decides to check it out to see who is there, but inside he only finds a basketball left behind. Meanwhile, the homeroom teacher tells Yoonji that the basketball team leaves the gym open after practice, so she should go lock it and return the key before going home for the day. Afterward, she goes to the basketball gym to practice but hears the ball bouncing sounds coming from inside already. Inside the gym, she finds Yoondeok throwing the ball into the basket over and over, but surprisingly he is not missing the basket at all during practice. Later, Yoonji realizes that he is fine when he is practicing alone, but he misses the shots when people are watching him play. She wonders if it is yips, which is a panic reaction induced by the fear of missing shots or excessive self-consciousness about performance. She then asks him if he wants to tell her more about his past and everything he is comfortable with sharing with her. Yoondeok says that when someone is tall like him, they just get certain attention from people, and this happens not long after he goes up to junior high school. Afterward, we get a flashback where the head coach of a local youth team stumbles upon him and suggests a spot on the team for him. At first, he thinks it is just some useless offer that will not lead anywhere, but soon, basketball actually grabs its interest and its height is of real help to the team, and he is getting much encouragement from everyone. One day, the head coach tells the coach that they are fielding Yoondeok in their upcoming game, so he should get him accustomed to their tactics and plays. However, the coach tries to explain that Yoondeok still needs to work on basic skills before playing in games, but the head coach forces the issue and says that this year, they have to make results at the tournament no matter what. Later that day, the head coach tells the team that there is a slight change to their starting lineup for the upcoming match next week that they have to play. The head coach starts switching players that are going to play in the game, and surprisingly he says that Yoondeok will play instead of Jaeyongsoo, saying Yoondeok is a first year and he has not played for long, and their opponent team has tall players, so it is their advantage to use him. However, Yoondeok feels uncomfortable and not ready to play in important games, and he also feels bad when he looks at Jaeyongsoo on the bench. Soon, Yoondeok's confidence hits rock bottom, and he keeps making mistakes during games, and that is around the time he has this crazy incident happen to him. They play against their longtime rival in the semi-final of their city tournament, and it is a wild and tense match with 6 seconds remaining on the clock, and they are 1 point behind, with one last chance to score and win the game. So, everyone thinks that their captain, who is a third year, would take the chance to shoot, but the coach tells Yoondeok that he will be the one to shoot instead. However, the captain tries to tell the head coach that he can shoot the ball, but the head coach says that the other team would expect him to shoot, but now they are turning it to their own advantage by using Yoondeok. Later in the match, the moment Yoondeok receives the ball in his hands, he gets confused and nervous, and he does not shoot the ball, and the timer runs out without a shot attempt. Later, Yoondeok's family has to move here due to his dad's job and new work assignment, so he leaves quietly, and he cannot even face his teammates after what happens. Back in the present time, Yoondeok tells Yoonji that this is the reason he wants to have a quiet life here at this school, but his dad seems to have thought he should get over his insecurity, so he sends him to this school instead. Later that night, Yoondeok and Yoonji walk home together from the gym, and since it is late at night, Yoondeok decides to take Yoonji back to her home safely so nothing bad happens. However, Yoonji tells him that no one worries about her walking alone at night because she is tall, so she appreciates his efforts to walk her home safely. The next day, Yoondeok works on different skills that can be of help to the team instead of just shooting, and one of them is setting screens for teammates. He thinks that if he can use his big body to block the defensive players, even if he cannot score himself, he can make shooting chances for his teammates who can score points instead. After that, the team learns about the All Korea Games, an annual national competition for high school athletes. It's a huge event where players from all across Korea take part, representing 9 provinces and 7 major cities. From these 16 regions, 2 basketball teams are selected from each, making a total of 32 teams competing from all over the country. The selection happens through regional tournaments, and Korea High competes in the Gyeonggi province bracket. After explaining that, Yoonji pulls out the tournament chart and gathers everyone around so she can go over the key schools they'll be facing in the upcoming matches. She starts with Taeyang High, the team they recently played against, and tells them that last year Taeyang's run ended in the quarterfinals. However, this year their lineup is made up of strong third-year players, making them even tougher. She goes on to explain that with Taeyang High holding the top spot, the fight for second place has always been intense, usually between Jungin High and Myeongsun High. She adds that Myeongsun High grabbed the second spot last year and even managed to knock out Korea High on their way to the All Korea Games. Later on, Yoondeok thinks about their next opponent, Saiwon High, which is a new team in interschool basketball and known as an underdog that never makes it past the round of 16. Because of that, Yoondeok and the others train with the goal of defeating Jungin High, who will likely face them in the quarterfinals. During practice, Yoondeok focuses on the basics alongside Junwoo, who is still new to the sport. His daily routine includes jogging to build endurance, working on basic dribbling, doing practice drills, and shooting exercises. Since Junwoo turns out to be a natural athlete, he improves quickly, and does not want to fall behind. Yoondeok also starts training extra with Yoonji after school every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Yoonji tries helping Yoondeok with the shooting part, and little by little they started seeing progress in him. Later that night, Yoondeok and Yoonji walk home together again, and Yoonji happily praises him for scoring 10 points in the practice game that day. She then asks if he's ready for his first real tournament match next week. Yoondeok admits that he's not so sure, saying he still feels stiff in his hands during practice and doesn't know if he can play as well as he usually does. Hearing that, Yoonji smiles and suggests they set a goal to make the match more fun. She tells him that if he scores more than 10 points in the upcoming game, he can ask for anything he wants, but if he fails, there will be a penalty. Finally, the day of the match arrives, and when the Saiwon High players see the Korea High team, they freeze for a moment, wondering if these guys are really just high school students. Last night, Yoondeok kept thinking about Yoonji's deal about getting 10 points in the match and wondered if he could actually do that. He further thinks that if he can actually score 10 points, he can ask her for anything, and then he gets all shy. The next day, Yoondeok shows Yoonji 2 movie tickets and says that this is the prize because if he actually scored 10 points or more, then she has to go watch a movie with him. Afterward, Yoondeok gets all shy and tells her that his friend in Busan booked it for himself, but he got busy, so he was wondering what a good price would be, and then he came up with this. However, Yoonji finds out that his name is actually on the ticket already and starts giggling at the mistake he makes. Finally, Yoonji agrees to go watch a movie with him if he delivers those 10 points in the next game they play. Back in the present time, Korea High is leading the game against Saiwon High, thanks to Haezong's incredible scoring and sharp basket shots that keep going in. Watching this happen, the Saiwon High players start to question if Korea High is really just a regular high school team, but then they recognize Haezong as the same player who is number 7 from Yusung Junior High last year. The game keeps going on, and Yoondeok focuses on blocking the ball from the Saiwon players and playing good defense for his team. Then, Dohun catches a pass, sprints toward the opponent's side, and performs a perfect double clutch shot, faking a shot in midair before actually scoring. Seeing that play, the students in the audience whisper excitedly, saying that Korea High has gotten even stronger since their last match against Taeyong High. Yoondeok gets the ball and quickly remembers his promise with Yoonji about going to the movies and how she told him to just shoot without hesitation. Thinking of that, he focuses and smoothly throws the ball, scoring an easy basket. On the side, Jiho tells another player that Yoondeok is actually an American player, and the guy's eyes widen as he realizes that this explains why Yoondeok's build looks like an NBA athlete's body. After some time passes, Korea High takes the lead with 60 points while Saiwon High only has 43, and the referee calls for a timeout to let both teams rest. During the break, the coach tells Yoondeok that this is a good chance for him to gain more real match experience without feeling pressured about making mistakes. Yoonji adds with a smile that he only needs one more point to hit his 10-point goal that they talk about. A moment later, the whistle blows and the game starts again with both teams back on the court. Afterward, the Saiwon High player was relieved because now Korea High's lineup only has first years, but then a short kid from Korea High stands in front of Saiwon High's player. The short boy's name is Myeongjin, and everyone wonders what's up with Korea High sending a small kid on the court. The match continues with Yoondeok having the ball, but a Saiwon player appears in front of him who tells his teammate that Korea High are all first years, so they shouldn't let them near the basket. However, Yoondeok quickly realizes that this boy is distracted, so he thinks about passing it to someone else, thinking they are just boosting their defense to back court for now. Afterward, Yoondeok gets surrounded by other players, so Dohun yells at him to pass it outside, so he passed the ball to another player, but Saiwon's player steals it. Then, the Saiwon High player quickly throws the ball in the basket and scores the points, and with that they keep scoring one by one, and now their points rises up to 52 while Korea High still has 62. Seeing that, Yoonji thinks that they are closing in on Yoondeok now that Haezong and their upperclassmen are on the bench. On the other hand, Dohun asks the coach to send him, but the coach tells him to wait a bit longer and give Yoondeok a chance. Meanwhile, Yoondeok thinks that the match is almost over and maintaining the 10-point lead was a pipe dream, but then he notices Myeongjin running with the ball. A few days earlier, Myeongjin had walked up to Yoondeok and asked him how tall his parents were. Yoondeok replied that his mom was around 6 feet tall and his dad was about 6'6". Hearing that, Myeongjin nodded proudly and said he knew it. He then sat down beside Yoondeok, munching on his growth vitamins, and said that height was all about good genes. Back in the present, during the game, Myeongjin dashes past all the Saiwon High players with incredible speed, and just before reaching the basket, he tosses the ball back to Yoondeok. Without hesitation, Yoondeok throws it cleanly into the hoop, scoring for his team. With that final shot, Korea High secures their victory and moves on to the quarterfinals. Later, Yoonji thinks to herself that Yoondeok did really well today and handled the pressure better than she expected, but she feels that Haezong's performance was a bit underwhelming compared to usual. She then walks into a room and finds Haezong in the middle of changing his shirt, which makes her blush and look away. Haezong notices her and casually tells her to let the others know that he won't be joining the celebration party because he has something to take care of tonight. After leaving the room, Yoonji couldn't stop thinking about the scars she saw on his back. She remembers how the coach once told her that Haezong transferred to this school after being put on probation for assaulting one of his teammates. Later that night, Yoondeok thinks that tomorrow he is going to the cinema with Yoonji, so he tries searching online about what clothes girls like on guys when they go out. It turns out that in his 17 years of life, he never goes to the cinema with a girl before, and due to that he does not have any good outfits in his wardrobe to wear. The next day, Yoondeok wears some weird gothic clothes and applies hair gel as well to try to look good. Seeing him dressed like that, Yoondeok's sister says that he looks so bad and ugly, and the worst part is that his hair looks terrible. She tells him to lose the pant chains and meet her in front of his clothes rack, and more importantly, wash off his hair gel thingy immediately. Later, Yoondeok arrives at his location looking much cooler than before with his new outfit and wonders where Yoonji is right now and if she is coming. Just then, Yoonji arrives at the meeting spot, and she looks even better than a Hollywood model, and seeing her like this, Yoondeok thinks that the uniform is not the only thing she looks pretty in at all. Yoonji tells him that she is desperately waiting to try these high heels on, and she has no chance to buy them a while ago, but today, she has a good reason to wear them for their date. Afterward, they both go inside to grab their ticket at the counter, but they still have 90 minutes before the movie begins to play on the screen. Yoonji says that it is part of her plan to come early to the theater, because there is an arcade nearby, and tells him that they will play games together, and the loser has to buy popcorn for both of them to eat. She explains that they will choose the winner for every game they play, and the one who loses more games buys the popcorn in the end. Afterward, they both play a bunch of different games in the arcade and in all of them they have the same score. So they decide to try a basketball arcade game for their final showdown to determine the winner. First, Yoonji tries her shot at the game and she gets 264 points, and she tells Yoondeok that she is a baller till junior high school. After that, it is Yoondeok's turn to play and he throws the ball into the basket and gets 386 points and wins the match against her. Afterwards, they watch the movie together, and Yoondeok thinks that he watches movies with other people before, but this time, it feels different than all the other times. Yoondeok feels that watching a movie feels heart-fluttering for the first time in his life, and it is because all his senses are focused on Yoonji sitting next to him, not so much on the movie playing on the screen. After some time, both of them get done with the movie and finish watching it, and Yoonji asks Yoondeok if he is hungry, and now she wants to invite him to dinner together. Then, both of them go to a restaurant to enjoy some food and spend more time together, and Yoonji tells Yoondeok that when they are young, her brother and she would play basketball at the park nearby and come here to eat afterward. Furthermore, she tells him that back then, they play basketball with other kids in this town all the time, and that is how they get close with Dohun and become friends with him. Yoondeok then asks how tall she is and she replies that she is actually 5 feet 11 inches tall, so Yoondeok asks why she is not playing basketball anymore and quits the sport. However, Yoonji says that it is not like she is outstanding like her brother is at basketball, and she is not quite sure about pursuing a career as a player professionally. She adds that in the first place, she chooses Korea High to try different activities and find what she likes, but she still has not figured out what to try yet, so she is the basketball team manager for now. Moreover, she says that these days, she gets anxious when she sees people moving forward with firm life goals and knowing what they want. Yoonji further says that their basketball team members fail to join prestigious teams after trying out, but they do not give up on their dreams, and they are still working toward their dreams every day, and she thinks very highly of them and sometimes envies them for their determination. Afterward, Yoondeok says that his dad has always been tall since he is young, so he tries many sports with an athletic career in mind, but he is not sure what sport to choose or if he is cut out to be an athlete at all. So, Yoondeok's dad ends up idling his youth away without finding his passion, but in his mid-20s, he gets immersed in woodwork and finds something he loves doing. Moreover, Yoondeok says that his dad always worked hard and told him that he shouldn't be anxious about whatever past dreams he had because if he worked hard, it was never in vain. Afterward, Yoondeok and Yoonji continue with their food and eating together, and once they are done with it, Yoonji asks him if he wants to sing off some of his dinner at the karaoke place nearby. Then, they go to the karaoke where Yoonji starts singing first and having fun, and then she tells Yoondeok to try as well and sing a song. However, when Yoondeok begins singing the songs, Yoonji gets surprised that he is actually really good at it with his smooth voice that sounds amazing. Later, when they get outside the karaoke building, Yoondeok finds out that he leaves his phone in there, so he quickly goes to grab it, but when he returns, he finds Yoonji talking to a guy outside. Afterward, the guy leaves and Yoondeok asks Yoonji who that guy was, so she says that he was someone who runs a mall online and he just asked her if she wanted to be a fit model, but then she told him that she is in high school, so he still gave her his number and left. However, Yoondeok asks her if she is interested in that modeling opportunity, but she says that she is just too tall to be a fit model for most brands, but she still says that he wants to look for taller models, so she is going to first look up his mall online and then decide if she wants to do it. Later that night, Yoonji's feet start hurting because she is not used to wearing high heels for such a long time, but she thinks that her home is not far away, so she will keep walking there. Yoondeok tells her to take her time and sit down to rest, and he quickly runs away to find something that can help her. After some time, he gets back with some bandages and slippers he buys from a store, and applies the bandage on her feet, which makes her blush from embarrassment. Yoonji gets excited after seeing those kitty slippers that he gets for her and thinks they are cute. Eventually, they finally make it to Yoonji's house, and as soon as Yoonji get inside, Seo notices the slippers she is wearing and starts making fun of them. After that particular weekend comes to an end and the new week begins, Yoonji and Yoondeok's friendship becomes much stronger and they grow even closer to each other than they were before. However, it seems like having a peaceful time at school isn't something that is going to happen for every single student who goes there. On one afternoon after classes finish, Junwoo is walking through the neighborhood when he comes across a troubling scene in a narrow alley just outside the school area, where he sees some guy physically attacking and beating up Haezong. Junwoo stands there feeling confused and starts wondering to himself why Haezong is letting this happen, thinking that these bullies don't even look particularly strong or scary, so he can't figure out why Haezong isn't standing up for himself or fighting back against them. At the same time, the bully who is leading the attack tells Haezong in a threatening voice that he isn't going to be allowed to go home until he gets down on his knees and begs for mercy, and he also mentions that he knows Haezong has an important basketball match scheduled for next week, so if he wants to be able to play in that game, then he needs to follow his orders and do exactly what he is being told to do. Right after saying all of this, the bully pulls his arm back and tries to throw a punch directly at Haezong's face, but at that exact moment, Junwoo rushes forward and punches the bully's face. Afterward, another bully tells the other about Junwoo and says that he uses to fight competitively in matches, but quits and starts beating people up instead, as he uses to be called the psycho by everyone. However, Junwoo says that he does not just beat anyone for no reason, as he only beats clowns like them who deserve it, so he is actually a good psycho. Afterward, Junwoo tries to punch them in the face, but Haezong stops him, saying there is a reason he is indulging them and letting them do this, and he will explain later, so he should leave now. Junwoo then grabs his belongings and tells the bullies that next time he catches them doing this to Haezong, he will not leave them alive or let them go easily. Now that Junwoo is gone, the bully walks up to Haezong and pokes his forehead hard, asking why he holds Junwoo back when he is about to counter him and defend him. The bully suddenly slaps Haezong across the face, but instead of fighting back, Haezong drops to his knees and begs him not to hit his face, explaining that he has an important match coming up next week and asks them to hit him somewhere that won't affect his performance on the court. Hearing that, the bully bursts out laughing, clearly enjoying seeing him beg, and then slaps him again. The bully tells Haezong that first thing tomorrow at school, he better kneel in front of his seat and wait for him, and only then will he think about whether to let it go or not. After dealing with Haezong, the bullies try to leave the area, but they find Junwoo standing outside, and then they get scared and leave quickly without causing more trouble. Haezong then arrives outside, and Junwoo asks him why he lets them beat him up and wonders if it is about basketball and his future. Later, Haezong says that he is on probation right now, and he does not know how, but they figure it out somehow, and now they are trying to get him expelled from the school. He further says that the tournament season has already begun, so nothing good can come from making it a big deal and getting into fights. However, Junwoo asks if he is going to let them treat him like that, but Haezong yells that this is the only school that would let him play on the team and he cannot lose this chance. Later that day, the coach tells everyone that today they will try something new and the first years are gonna go against the upperclassmen. Hearing that, everyone gets excited and the match between both of them begins. Earlier, the coach told Yoondeok and Myeongjin about one of the most commonly used and naturally fundamental plays in basketball that they need to learn. He explains that first, their big man sets a screen or pick against the defensive guard, which helps their guard, who is handling the ball, lure out the defensive big man from the basket. Then, their big man rolls into the cleared space and receives the ball and scores with a shot easily. So, he wants Yoondeok and Myeongjin to team up and practice this play together. Moreover, he tells them that when a guard and the big man team up to beat their matches and defenders, they call it a two-man game, and he wants it in their list of offensive strategies to use in games. However, the coach says that as simple as it sounds, it requires much practice, as it is a two-person play that needs coordination. Back in the present time, Myeongjin asks Yoondeok if he has been practicing the pick and roll move, and it turns out Yoondeok has been practicing that move a lot. The match then begins with Yoondeok and Myeongjin playing together like the coach teaches them in practice, and Yoondeok manages to throw the ball into the basket and scores the points for the team. Seeing that play happen, Dohun and Jiho think that it is smooth and it shows how hard he must have worked for that move to look so good. On the other hand, the coach thinks that Myeongjin is a remarkable player against Siwon High in their last game, as he is fast and has smooth dribbles, but the biggest flaw he has is his height, as he is too short even against Juno on defense. Afterward, the ball gets to Dohun, who is against Haezong on the court, and Dohun tries to shoot the ball at the basket, but Haezong almost intercepts it with his hand, but the ball still goes into the basket anyway. Dohun then thinks that Haezong seems to be lagging a bit today and not playing his best, but then the match continues and Yoondeok and Myeongjin do their special pick and roll strategy again, and Myeongjin manages to throw a floater shot directly into the basket that shocks everyone watching. Moreover, Yoonji finally realizes why the coach instructs those two to team up together, as Myeongjin's strengths are fast dribbles and smart passes, and Yoondeok is just built for screening with his big body, and now he can score unmarked with ease too. The match then continues with Dohun getting the ball, and he easily scores while Haezong is not playing like his usual self today. Seeing that happen, Yoonji tells the coach that this might be because he has bruises all over the place from something, and they just hope he is alright and not hurt too badly. Meanwhile, Yoondeok almost shoots the ball into the basketball hoop, but Dohun appears in front of him to block, so he passes the ball to Haezong, who struggles because of his bruises and injuries. Seeing Haezong cannot shoot the ball properly, the coach tells Haezong to get back to the bench and rest, and tells Jukiel to get ready to substitute in. Meanwhile, Yoonji goes back to the school because the coach tells her to go talk to Haezong's classmates and gather information on his school life and what is happening. Yoonji then finds a girl who asks her if she is here to check on Haezong, because she wants to tell her something important about him. Later, the girl tells Yoonji that she has been bullied since junior high school, and in the beginning of the term, she finds herself in the same class as one of her bullies from junior high again. During class, the bully tells the girl, named Yuna, that if she moves an inch and wakes her up from sleeping, then she will beat her up badly. After a while, Yuna's back starts hurting from the uncomfortable position, and the teacher notices that, so he tells the class to freeze as they are and starts walking towards her desk. The teacher then punishes the bully and tells her to stand in the class as punishment, but the bully gets furious at Yuna for getting her in trouble like that. After the class finishes, the bully corners Yuna in the school and starts beating her up pretty badly, hitting her multiple times while asking her why she keeps bothering other people and creating so many problems for everyone around her. The bully then reaches into her backpack and pulls out a wooden stick because she wants to torture Yuna even more and make her suffer worse than before. Just as she raises the stick high in the air and tries to bring it down to hit Yuna with it, Haezong suddenly appears and quickly grabs onto her arm to stop the attack. The moment the girl and the other bullies see Haezong standing there, they immediately get really scared and they turn around and walk away. Yuna turns to Yoonji and explains that Haezong doesn't just help her, and he also steps in to protect other students whenever they get picked on or bullied by gang members at school. She goes on to say that the gang never dared to mess with Haezong directly because they were scared of him and what he might do if they crossed the line. But then, one day, something suddenly changed, and the gang members started acting completely differently toward him, treating him in a way they never had before. On that particular day, Yuna walks up to Haezong because she wants to thank him properly for saving her from the bullies the other day when they are about to hurt her really badly. However, Haezong looks at her kindly and tells her that being tall and feeling shy around other people is not something she should feel bad about or think of as a crime, and he mentions that one of his own teammates on the basketball team is also both shy and tall just like her. Yuna then continues the conversation by telling him that she hears through other students that he gets to play in the All-Korea Games tournament, so she wants to wish him the very best of luck for that important competition coming up soon. The very next day at school, the same group of bullies starts picking on and beating up some other guy who is in their class. Each one of the bullies takes their turn punching him one after another, and while they are doing this, they start having a conversation among themselves about whose punch is actually stronger and more painful than the others. After they finish hitting him several times, one of the bullies leans down close to the victim and asks him directly whose punch causes him more pain and hurts worse. So the boy looks up at them with fear and says that both of their punches hurt him really badly. Hearing those words, the female bully tells the other guy that he means that they both are pretty much the same kind of person. The other guy gets furious and tries to slap him again, but Haezong stops them, saying they should stop bullying people around like this. Seeing him interfere, the bully starts hitting the boy again, which shocks Haizong, and the bully asks Haizong why he should stop doing what he is doing. Afterward, the bully keeps hitting the boy one after another without stopping, but then Haizong grabs his hand to make him stop, but the bully punches Haizong as well in the face. The bully then asks Haizong why he would take orders from a guy who is under probation, and he further says that he cannot get in more trouble if he wants to join a match, and yet he thinks to come at them anyway. The bully grabs Haizong's hair and says that instead of bullying other people, they will bully him from now on. At first, the bullies try to annoy Haizong with little things, but it gets more and more serious over time as the days go by. Yuna then finds Haizong's desk dirty and messy, so she starts cleaning it up, but then he arrives and grabs his stuff, saying she does not have to do that because they would dirty it again anyway. However, Yuna feels bad because he helps her when she needs it the most, so she apologizes to him, saying she could not do anything when he is in trouble with the bullies. Back in the present time, Yuna tells Yoonji further that those bullies are going to extreme levels these days, so he should be taking care of himself for the matches coming up. Yoonji then tells her to tell the homeroom teacher about this situation, but then Haizong arrives at that moment and asks if they are talking about him right now. Haizong then tells Yoon that she can't let the teachers know about this, but Yoonji says that this is the kind of thing teachers should get involved in. However, Haizong says that they won't do anything but give a warning or some campus cleaning hours at most, and that will only provoke those bullies and push them to go further. Haizong further tells them that he already knows the bullies will not try to harass him or cause any trouble during the basketball tournament season, so for right now, they should not do anything to provoke them. Later that same day, the basketball coach gathers all the team members together and starts telling them important information about their next opponent team, which is called Jungin High School, and what they are up against. The coach begins explaining to the players that only 10 years ago in the past, Jungin High used to compete and fight really hard with Taeyang High for the chance to win the Province Cup Championship. However, they have become a perfect example of what happens when a powerhouse team that used to be great falls out of glory and loses all their former strength and reputation. On top of that, the coach continues his explanation by saying that he does not manage to find anyone particularly remarkable or impressive among the new players that Jungin High recruits and brings onto their team this year. As he does warn them that the opposing team has one player they need to watch out for, who is a student named Goziak Jong, and this player is already in his third year at the school. Juna puts up a tight defense line with him as the keyman of their strategy, but their final scores are low in general, so whether Korea High can penetrate their defense or not will determine their chance of winning the game. Afterward, everyone starts their practice on the court, and it turns out Haizong is struggling because of his bruises pain again and cannot play at his best. Seeing that happen, the coach decides to send Jukil in as a substitute, but he could not find him anywhere on the court or benches, so Yoondeok tells him that he dashes out clutching his stomach, saying he needs to use the toilet right away. The coach decides to send Junu in the game instead of Haizong, and Yoonji asks Haizong if it is still bothering him, so he replies that it is the wound from the last time he gets beaten by the bullies. 3 days before the match, the bullies sit in their alley, talking about how Haizong could not do a thing despite them beating him like a boxing bag over and over. Just then, Taejun appears out of nowhere, and it turns out he is the one who tells the bullies about everything related to Haizong and his probation. He further tells them to poke Haizong a bit more so that they can get him expelled from the school. The next day, Haizong and Yuna walk home together as it starts raining outside, but on their way, they find the same bullies waiting for them. Afterward, the bullies beat up Haizong in the alley, and just as Taejun says they should do, they try to mess with Yuna to provoke him, which will cause Haizong to rise up and defend her. Haizong gets furious and charges at the bullies with a punch to protect Yuna from them. The day of the regional quarterfinal finally arrives for both teams, and the second match of the day between Korea High vs Jung High starts 10 minutes from now. Afterward, some people talk about how one of the Korea High guys gets dropped from the team for beating some dude, and they feel bad because Korea High is getting better these days with their performance. On the other hand, Taejun is feeling happy hearing that news because he does not have to see Haizong's face on the court anymore, but when Taejun hears that the only player who gets dropped is a newbie rookie, he gets shocked. The one who drops out of the team turns out to be Junu, and Haizong is still in the match as he walks into the stadium ready to play. A few days ago, Haizong almost punches the bully in the face, but Junu stops him and tells him to save his hand for basketball because he cannot risk it getting injured. Afterward, Junu gets ready to teach the bullies a lesson even though he knows that if he beats them up, the disciplinary committee will get him dropped from the team. The next day, the disciplinary meeting is held at the school, and all the bullies who get beaten up badly by Junu claim to be the victims and even try to pin the blame on Haizong for starting the fight in the first place. However, Junu is prepared for it, as he has Taebin record the fight they have from his top-notch camera that captures everything. The footage that Taebin has contains recordings of Haizong being bullied, getting attacked on the rainy day, and not to mention Junu protecting Yuna from battery and assault. Soon after that happens, Yuna also gives her words that Haizong is not the guy who would beat others, and he falls victim to those bullies while protecting his classmates from harm and danger. Moreover, Korea High Coach also submits various documents and tries to explain the entire situation to the disciplinary committee members in detail. In the end, the gang's continued bullying and beating has been proven and substantiated, and they get expelled from the school along with being given community service hours as punishment. Back in the present time, everyone thought that with this lineup, things were not looking good for Jungin High, and now the quarterfinal match will begin between the two teams. Later, Junmo also arrives at the stadium and asks his teammate how the game is going so far, so he tells him to look at those scores, and it is near the end of the first quarter already. Junmo gets confused about how Jungin is leading with 3 points despite Korea High having Dohun and Haizong on the team playing along together. However, the other guy tells him that what is more surprising is that Dohun is the only one scoring points on that team, as he starts off fine, scoring with jab steps and pull-up jumpers successfully. Afterward, Goziak tells his team to block Dohun and focus on him, and others think that Goziak's help defense is so effective and strong, and the other Jungin guys are quick at covering from behind to support. Then, Dohun quickly passes the ball to Haizong to give him a chance, and others think that Haizong's contending streak is missing today, and he is being so timid and hesitant. Haizong then passes the ball to another teammate who tries to take a shot at the basket but the ball bounces back off the rim, so others start thinking that Haizong cannot do things today and wonder if Goziak's defense game is that strong against him. However, the Myeongsun High players wonder if Jungin High wins this match, then this means they will be playing against them in the semi-finals of the tournament. Meanwhile, the Jungin High boys throw the ball into the basket again and keep their streak going with 5 points extra ahead. On the other hand, a geezer wonders if it is Coach Hwang's third year here at the school, and the other guy says that he joins the same year that Goziak Jong does as a player on the team. The other guy thinks that Jungin's offense is not exactly top-notch or impressive, but they are leading constantly and widening the score gap, and Korea High lacks the finishing touch today in their plays and execution. Finally, it is break time for both teams, and the Jungin guy tells Goziak that Haizong is kind of struggling out there, so Goziak says that he is having a hard time getting past their flawless defense system. Just then, the other guy tells Goziak that he is right about Yoondeok, as he is actually a noob, because they do not pass much to him, and he moves like he is made of wood on the court. Meanwhile, Korea High's coach tells the team that it looks like Jungin High knows that Korea High players have good perimeter shots, and they are pulling denial defense to stop them. Afterward, the second quarter begins with fresh energy, and Junu cheers for Haizong from the stadium seat where he sits. Last afternoon, Haizong goes to Junu to apologize to him because he got dropped by the team because of him. Junu says that he knows it is Haizong's last chance to keep playing basketball, because he knows he has to quit boxing himself as the doctor says he could not risk taking hits to his head anymore, so he knows how it feels to lose something. Back in the present moment, Haizong quickly dodges a bunch of Jungin players and throws the ball into the basket successfully. Seeing that, Yoonji gets worried because Haizong has injuries and the coach hopes that he's not overstraining himself. The Jungin players think that Haizong might be strategically laying low and waiting for his moment, and then Yoondeok quickly runs to get the ball from Goziak and stop him. Yoondeok remembers that the coach tells him that Goziak shoots more often near the basket than from mid-range, so he should keep him off the paint, and they will be good. However, Goziak manages to throw the ball into the basket anyway, and the geezer watching thinks that his shooting is improving every year, and he might have some more potential, so he thinks about recruiting him to his team. Afterward, Haizong gets the ball in his hands and he tries his best to run past Goziak and tries to shoot the ball at the basket. It turns out, Goziak got long arms and it has been that way since he was young, but some would fun of him for that, but he always found his long arms more useful than weird. However, they turn out to be more useful when he starts playing basketball, and no one of his height can dunk like he does on the court. He can shoot and dribble from up high, which helps his offense game and makes him effective. Goziak then manages to jump so high that no one could believe that it is possible, and he manages to block Haizong's ball from going in. On the other hand, Taebin tells Junu that this is the wingspan that makes him the block city that he is, and he explains that wingspan is the length between the ends of stretched arms when extended. Moreover, most people's wingspan and height are roughly the same measurement, so in this case, His wingspan is 8 inches longer than his actual height is. Goseok then manages to shoot the ball into the basket again, and they are again leading in points against Korea High. Haezong tells Dohun that next time Goseok leaves for help defense, he will get the rim, so he should pass to him when that happens. Afterward, the match continues with Dohun passing the ball to Haezong, who jumps to shoot it, but Goseok blocks it and gets the foul card called on him. After that play, Haezong gets 2 shots from the free throw line and both of them successfully go into the basket without missing. Then, Haezong and Goseok continued their duel, and around the time everybody was absorbed in the game as it got heated up. However, they soon clashed pretty hard into each other, and Haezong gets the offensive foul called on him for charging at Goseok on the play. Suddenly, Haezong's bruises start hurting pretty badly, so the coach tells the referee that they need to sub him out of the game and call the medical staff to check on him. To the coach's worry and concern, a clash to worsen Haezong's injury comes true earlier than expected during the match. Fortunately, his injury is not grave or serious, and they say with some caution, he would recover soon enough, but having him subbed out when they desperately need to break their opponent's defense takes its toll on the team. After that happens, Jukil replaces him on the court, but he could not be of any threat to Jungin Hai's defense game at all. Rather, he gives Goseok the leeway to focus on Dohun, who gets completely tied down as a result of that, and even worse, Yoondeok gets exhausted from playing so much, and Yongbyeom has to substitute for him mid-quarter to give him rest. Afterward, Jungin's player, Gwon quickly runs past everyone with the ball and easily throws it in the basket, which gains them some more score points. Seeing that, Myeongjin tells Jiho that guy is a first year there and he used to be short, so he had to hone all those skills like dribbling, passes, and that's how he can play point guard even after getting so tall. However, Jiho asks how he knows about him so well, so Myeongjin says that they used to play together like when they were young kids, but Jiho wonders why he does not say hi to him before the game starts. Finally, it is halftime, and Jungin is still in the lead against Korea High on the scoreboard. In the washroom, Gwon runs into Myeongjin and gets excited to see that he is actually playing for Korea High on their team. He then asks Myeongjin if he sees him today that he is the only first year in their starting lineup and says that it is all thanks to the tricks he picks up from him when they used to play together. Just then, Myeongjin does not say anything back, but Gwon further says that he might get to play later in the game, and he will do his best to widen their lead, then maybe his coach will send him in for garbage time at the end. Hearing those words, Myeongjin gets furious and says that the only improvement he sees in him is his stupid mouth talking trash. Meanwhile, Haezong finally gets back from getting checked by medical staff, and the coach apologizes to him, as he should have taken him out before the game gets overheated, but he gets fixated on breaking Goseok's defense strategy. He then tells Haezong that he will not be playing now for safety, but Haezong says that he needs to get back at least for the final quarter, but the coach refuses and tells him to have faith in his teammates instead. Afterward, the coach gathers everyone together and tells Myeongjin that he will go in for the third quarter to play. Afterward, the match continues with both teams playing hard, and Gwon starts making fun of Myeongjin on the court, but Myeongjin uses his tricks to swing around the ball and confuse him. He then asks Gwon if he remembers the cheap trick he uses to break his ankles with back in the day, and if they are feeling fine today after that move. Then, we get a flashback about Myeongjin's life, as he has not been short all his life growing up. In elementary school, he is one of the taller ones, even among his basketball buddies, and everyone thinks that he is super fast and talented at the sport. On top of that, he is a fast runner and has solid dribbles, as he gets ahead of the rest of the players, but then he meets Gwon, who also plays in the same academy since they are little, and he always has been fast at picking things up and learning. However, Gwon always make mistakes and get scolded by the coach for not playing well, and even more, he is shorter than Myeongjin back then, and during matches, all he can do is warm the bench for him and watch. Moreover, in Myeongjin's version of the story, they are good friends with shared love of basketball, growing and learning together on the court, but to him, he might have been an object of envy and jealousy instead. Due to Gwon's jealousy, things get quite different once they enter junior high school, and after their first year break, Gwon returns like 4 inches taller than before, and in third year, he reaches 6.2 feet tall in height. Meanwhile, Myeongjin does not grow even by an inch over time, and because of his height, the coaches always look away from him and do not give him chances, and Gwon ends up taking his spot on the team. Myeongjin tries everything he can to get taller, but he is no match for his physiological limits, and over time, he starts to get excluded even from simple practice games with others. However, Myeongjin does not give up just because of his height, and he even works twice as much as others to prove himself. Back in the present time, Myeongjin does an ankle-breaking move, which is an offensive player tricking the defender hard with dribbles, causing them to lose balance and fall down on the court. Just like that, Gwon falls on the ground hard, and Myeongjin shoots a three-pointer shot successfully into the basket, but then Gwon gets furious and runs to get the ball back to try again. Myeongjin just pushes the ball away from his side easily, asking if after all these years he still cannot drive to the left side like he never could. Afterward, Myeongjin gets the ball in his hands and he quickly throws it into the basket, which surprises everyone watching the game. Jungwon's coach tells Song that Gwon is out of the game, and he is in now, so he should stay alert of that point guard, and Myeongjin's dribbles are no joke to deal with. Furthermore, the coach of Jungwon thinks that they have to stop them from catching up even if it costs them some offensive chances, because they need an experienced defensive player like Song on the court now. The match then continues with Myeongjin doing the same dribble trick in front of Song and then tries to escape past him, but Song is not letting him through this time. In that case, Yoondeok quickly arrives out of nowhere and tries to distract Goseok while Myeongjin tries to escape from the defense. In the end, Myeongjin manages to fool him with his moves and quickly throws the ball into the basket, scoring for the team successfully. Seeing that play happen, the geezer from the audience seats thinks that Myeongjin from Korea High is chasing and changing the course of the game, and he thinks that Jungwon High's defense is faltering and breaking down. Afterward, Myeongjin throws the ball underneath Song's legs and throws it into the basket again, which not even Song or Goseok can stop from happening. Finally, the score is now 35 for Korea High and 36 for Jungwon High, and they only need 1 point to tie. It is now timeout for both teams, and Jiho asks Myeongjin if he has always been this good at basketball. On the other hand, Jungwon's coach asks Goseok why he does not take some time out, as there is no need to strain himself already, as they still have the fourth quarter to play, and Goseok realizes that he is right, he does need time to catch his breath. Just then, a Taeyang's player named Jisoo asks Goseok if he chooses to go with Coach Hwang to pull this plan, as he lets them cut his scoring streak and shake his defense game like this. He further tells Goseok to cut his tiredness excuse and get back on the court so that he can win and join him at the province final, because they are going to the national round together as teammates on Taeyang. Jisoo further tells the coach that Goseok has been acting weak on purpose, and he does not really need a cool down now, and he thinks they can agree that he cannot be subbed out now, of all times in the game when they need him most. Afterward, the game resumes with Myeongjin having the ball in his possession, and Jungwon uses zone defense, which is effective against two-man and one-on-one plays that teams try to run. Myeongjin then quickly passes the ball to Jiho, who then passes it to Jukil, who notices that no one is available to pass to anymore, so he throws it back to Yoondeok instead. Since time is almost over on the clock, Yoondeok quickly jumps to shoot the ball at the basket, but Goseok blocks it from going in. Then, Goseok sprints down the court with the ball, charges straight toward the basket on the other end and makes a clean shot. As the ball goes in, he thinks to himself that this year, he's definitely making it to the national games. After that, Korea High's coach decides to put Dohun back into the game. When he enters, he teases Goseok, asking if he's already worn out from playing so hard. Goseok shoots back, asking if he's noticed how few points Dohun has managed to score against him today. The match continues with both players giving it their all, and soon Dohun catches up, scoring again and again until both teams are tied. Yoonji then asks the coach if he thinks that things will stay this way in the final, but the coach says that things will clear up. Later, the coach tells the team that it was an intense quarter, but they all stood and he thinks that they are all quite worn out as well. On the other hand, Goseok is at his breaking point, so the coach decides to sub him, but Goseok still refuses, saying if he step back now, no one is going to block Dohun. Finally, the last quarter starts up and everyone can see that Goseok looks really tired and worn out, and he isn't moving or reacting nearly as fast as he was doing before in the earlier parts of the game. However, Dohun manages to run right past him really quickly and he throws the ball straight into the basket, which ends up getting them 2 more points added to their score. The worst part about this whole situation is that Goseok still refuses to get himself substituted out of the game even though he is completely drained and exhausted from playing so hard. After that play happens, Myeongjin gets control of the ball and he quickly beats Song and gets past him before he jumps up high to throw the ball into the basket to score. When everyone sees that, they start thinking that Goseok can't make it back to the backcourt fast enough anymore, and this just goes to show the limitation and problem that comes with having a one-man team that relies on just one player. Then, Goseok gets the ball in his hands, and he manages to somehow throw it into the basket despite being tired. Dohun thinks that it looks like Goseok might crack any moment now and wonders if he is holding up with sheer willpower alone. On the other hand, Yoondeok gets the ball, and he recalls that the coach tells him to gather his confidence and try a post-up play in the final quarter. Yoondeok then shoves off his opponent with his body and shoots the ball straight into the basket successfully. Finally, the gap is too wide between Korea High and Jungwon High on the scoreboard. Afterward, Myeongjin passes the ball back to Yoondeok, who slams another player and tries to throw the ball in basket, but Goseok follows him, so he passes the ball to Dohun. Dohun then wonders if he should play safe, then go for a chancy three-pointer, but just as he tries to shoot, Goseok again jumps to block it. It turns out that Jungha High is famous for its elite basketball team even from the year it opens as a school, and it is the team that is a local legend with decades of legacy behind it. Moreover, Goseok and Jisoo are both students of Coach Hwang back then, and it is their dream of joining the team one day when they grow up. It happens in the year they enter junior high school, and Coach Hwang starts his tenure as an assistant coach at Jungha High. Soon, Goseok and Jisoo's goal becomes even clearer, as they are to join his team and be the national champions together, but they are to make the man who opens the world of basketball to them proud of their achievements. Soon, Goseok and Jisoo make their first progress and achieve medals in competitions, so they quickly go to the coach to show him, who then tells them that they should celebrate it with some barbecue together. Later, the coach tells them that if they keep up their progress next year, they may have a chance with better schools than Jungha High can offer them. However, Goseok and Jisoo say that it is their Jungha High or nothing for them, and they want to bring the trophy to him just like he wants for the school. The coach tells them that All Korea Games champion is not a feat that just about anyone can achieve easily, and then he reveals that Jungha High is going downhill in performance. He adds that it is not a legendary team that they used to look up to anymore, and the head coach is causing problems for them, but in the past, Jungha High produced good results with relative ease from the beginning, and the team keeps on performing well season after season. Because of that success, the head coach starts to ruin his team with his eyes fixed on his personal gains and not on the team's success. However, Goseok refuses to believe that news because the school he has been dreaming of his whole life is falling apart in front of him. Eventually, the time for the hard decision found them, and Jisoo got a call from Taeyang High and accepted, but he was torn between Taeyang High and Usung High in Seoul, but then the deeds of High coach got exposed and soon Coach Hwang was named the new head coach. After that, Goseok's all worries are gone and he found a new goal, and he wants to reclaim Junghan High's old glory back. Back in present, Goseok manages to steal the ball from Dohun and scores a goal for his team. After that, Goseok tells his team that they need to stay focused because they are going to lock the other team up, and then all the players on the court start doing man-on-man defense on everyone. When Myeongjin sees this, he realizes that the block city is coming back to life again because the defenders are guarding the paint area so well that it looks like they are not going to let anyone enter that zone at all, but he also realizes that the clock is running down and they are running out of time fast. However, the ball gets passed really quickly until it finally reaches Jaeyoungmin, and then he tries to take a shot from the three-point line. The shot does not go in and misses the basket, so the ball bounces off the rim and the guy from Junghan High School gets to the ball first before anyone else can grab it, and then he passes it over to one of his teammates. On the other hand, Dohun notices that Goseok is certainly getting slower in transition plays, but then he gets surprised to see that Goseok is standing still on the court. Goseok's teammate then notices that he is open, and he quickly passes the ball back to him, and then Goseok throws it into the basket successfully. Now, Jungha is just 1 point ahead of Korea High because that surprise shot peps up Jungha High and their defense game and gives them energy. The Junghan High then plays like maniacs as Goseok gets the ball, and he does some insane driving movies in front of Dohun before throwing a good shot in the basket. The ball then gets passed to Myeongjin and he passes the ball over to Dohun, and Dohun quickly throws the ball into the basket and scores. After that happens, the ball gets back into Goseok's hands again, and the players who are sitting in the audience start wondering if he is the only reliable player they have on offense as well. However, another guy says that in a really close game situation like this one, they have no choice but to keep passing the ball to the ace of the team. On the other hand, Goseok tries to take another shot, which makes Dohun realize that all Goseok can do right now is just keep shooting the ball. Goseok then decides to pass the ball to one of his teammates instead, and that teammate shoots the ball, but the shot does not go in and the ball bounces back off the rim to Yoondeok and he passes it over to Dohun. Then Dohun throws the ball into the basket and scores again. After that, Goseok starts feeling lightheaded, like he might pass out at any second, but he keeps telling himself that he has to stay in the game no matter what. Gathering his strength, he jumps and manages to shoot the ball into the basket, but right after that, a sharp pain hits his leg as he gets a cramp and collapses to the floor. Seeing this, Junghan's coach quickly substitutes Goseok out and says that he should have done it earlier, but he just couldn't after seeing how determined Goseok was to keep playing. The coach feels relieved when he learns it's only a cramp and nothing serious, and he apologizes to Goseok for pushing him too hard, but Goseok can't stand watching Korea High keep scoring so many points, feeling frustrated that he can't do anything. The coach tells him to accept the result because he already gave his best. A little later, Korea High wins the game against Jungin High and moves on to the next round. After the match, the two men from earlier walk up to Goseok and Coach Hwang, introducing themselves as the head coach and the recruiting manager from Korea University. When they hear that, Goseok and the coach are both shocked and start wondering why the visitors are here in Seoul. The recruiting manager explains that they have been watching Goseok's games since the junior high league because he was already known in Gyeonggi province for his good defense. Then the head coach tells Goseok that they know he didn't get many chances to show his real skills during the high school league, but today they can finally see more of what he can do and decide what they think about him. Furthermore, the head coach heads that his constant, remarkable growth and persistence tenacity, it's just the talent that they have been looking for. He says that they know he still have time left in high school, but if he is looking to advance his career to college level, they will be happy to invite him to their tryouts and he can find bunch of nice teammates there who can support his plays, both defensive and offensive. The next day, some boys walk up to Yoondeok while he is in class and they tell him that he should feel really proud of himself because he might end up representing their entire state in all Korea games. Right at that moment, Yoonji arrives and joins the conversation, and she says that they just need one more win and then one of the 2 tickets to all Korea games is going to be theirs, but before that happens, she tells him that he needs to train really hard so that he can play well in the next game. However, Yoondeok realizes that training alone with just Yoonji is something that they have not had the chance to do in a while now because they have been busy with all those team practice sessions lately. Later that day, Yoondeok arrives at the gym, thinking he will practice alone with Yoonji, but he finds Dohun and Haezong already there. Now, they are only one game away from proceeding to the national round, so Yoondeok started training under a program Yoonji designed for his optimal growth. However, their training first began with endurance exercises led by Junwoo, who made them follow the workout routine he used to do back in his martial arts days, and it turned out to be really tough for Yoondeok. As the days went by, Yoondeok started to notice that he was getting stronger and more used to the routine, and the hard work was clearly paying off. After that, they moved on to Haezong's offensive strategy training. Even though Haezong still hadn't fully recovered from his injury, he went out of his way to help Yoondeok, probably because he knew Yoondeok's performance would be important for their team in the upcoming matches. Haezong also told him that even in the national round, there could be mismatches and it would be a huge waste if they didn't take full advantage of those chances. Moreover, under Haezong's guidance, Yoondeok throws himself into various scoring drills, giving it everything he has. During practice, Haezong explains that every post-up play begins with fighting for the right position. He tells him that the closer he is to the low post when he catches the pass, the easier it will be to score, and if he receives the ball in a strong spot, just a few post-ups are enough to get to the basket. Haezong continues by saying that once they drive toward the basket, it's almost the same as scoring and that good positioning is just as important when going for rebounds, not only in offense. Afterward, Yoondeok tries to push Haezong, but Haezong tells him to stand the ground and get himself properly ready to receive the ball. Then, Haezong continues teaching him more techniques, explaining that he needs to push his way toward the basket and shoot with confidence. Haezong then quickly pushes Yoondeok with the ball and quickly throws the ball in the basket. Their training continues for a while until Yoonji tells them that she need to use the toilet, so she is calling it a break. During the break, Junwoo asks Yoondeok if he and Yoonji are dating since it seems like they've been spending a lot of time together lately. Yoondeok quickly answers that she's just a friend who helps him practice basketball and build his confidence. Right then, Yoonji shows up, and everyone goes back to their intense training session, which they've been doing every day until late at night. After a while, Haezong notices that Yoondeok can't score well with his left hand, so he gives him more advice and tips about basketball and game tactics. The next day, Yoonji tells Yoondeok that the school's sports day will be held next week. After that, the whole school is absorbed in preparing for the school sports day, and for this annual festival, they get together with their classmates and compete with other classes for a year-long honor. Somehow, Yoondeok thought varsity members were to stay out of the games, but it's not the case, and it's because their varsities are more like sports clubs in nature. Moreover, the news that the top-scoring class gets to go on a class trip further heated up everyone's enthusiasm, and Yoondeok's basketball team members were no exception to that. Furthermore, there are 4 first-year classes that have basketball team members. There are 4 first-year classes that have basketball team members, and there has been an ongoing discussion about which class would win, as Class 2 was widely considered off the table as Haezong chose not to join the game. So, Class 4 left, with 3 basketball team members, and Class 6 with Junwoo and Yoondeok. The next day, the coach gives everyone the tickets to the National League special match, and he tells them that these were sold out long ago thanks to all the events and the living legends who'll attend. However, everyone asks him how he got that, so he tells them that he happened to know some people in the organizing body, but 'tis not for everyone, as 2 tickets each, to the winning class of each grade. It turns out that because of this, the upperclassmen on their team immediately got excited, and even more surprisingly, Myongjin, who had seemed completely uninterested before, suddenly started showing a fiery passion to win. However, Yoondeok himself didn't really care much about the tickets or how well their class performed. The next day, he tells Junwoo that he isn't that into the game like everyone else, but Junwoo insists that they have to win those tickets no matter what. Junwoo explains that there are 2 tickets, so if they win, Yoondeok can use one to go to the special match with Yoonji. Then, Junwoo starts trying to manipulate him, saying that this might be his perfect chance to go on an amusement park date with Yoonji. Soon, the big day finally comes, and Yoonji looks over the match table, realizing that their class is the only one in their bracket that has basketball team members. She thinks that if they make it to the finals, they'll most likely be facing Class 4, which happens to be Myongjin's class. A moment later, Yoonji's friends show up, and she tells Yoondeok that she'll be able to come for the final match, but she has to leave for her dance practice first. Her dance performance is planned for the finale of the Sports Day talent show, which everyone is excited about since it's one of the main scoring events. During the matches, Yoondeok plays fiercely, showing incredible energy and skill, and after several games, he manages to lead his class all the way to the finals. Waiting for them at the top, just as expected, is Class 4, led by Myongjin. Afterward, everyone in the crowd starts cheering loudly for Yoondeok's team, and some people even start wondering out loud if Myongjin's team is really as good as everyone says they are. Because they have 3 basketball team members on their side, and yet that short guy is just dominating the entire court right now. Right after that, the match kicks off again with Yoondeok tapping the ball first during the tip-off, and he passes it over to one of his teammates. Then Myongjin moves in quickly and steals the ball away from him before he can do anything with it. Myongjin then quickly runs forward with the ball as he moves past everyone on the court really smoothly and easily, and then he throws the ball into the basket and scores points for his team. Myongjin then looks at Yoondeok and tells him that he is going to be the one taking those tickets to the special game. The match then continues playing, and Yoondeok starts showing off some really good offensive moves on the court, but the other guy who is guarding him thinks to himself that he cannot give in to a complete noob whose only real talent is just his height and nothing else. Right after that, Yoondeok quickly spins his body around in a smooth motion and throws the ball into the basket and scores points, and then he looks over at Myongjin and tells him that he needs those tickets no matter what happens in this game. After that moment, the intense competition between Myongjin and Yoondeok keeps going on for a while longer, and every single time that Myongjin scores points with his really fast breaks down the court, his nimble dribbling skills and his shots from the perimeter area, Yoondeok responds right back by scoring with his powerful post-up moves and his shots from inside the paint area to close the gap in the score. Soon enough, the entire school gym starts heating up with all the loud shouts and cheers from the spectators on both sides of the court. They cannot believe that basketball can be this wild and exciting, because it is the first time for some of them to watch a game like this one. The unbreakable tie that has been going on for so long starts to crumble and fall apart with only 3 minutes left on the clock until the buzzer beats and the game ends. Myongjin quickly dribbles past a guy who is trying to guard him, and he thinks to himself that he has to win that ticket because it includes a special match with the NBA players, and one of those players who is visiting is his idol, Alan. Myongjin then quickly jumps up into the air to throw the ball into the basket, but Yoondeok also jumps up at the exact same time to try to block his shot, and he is thinking about his date night with Yoonji while he does it. After that, Yoondeok successfully blocks the opponent's attack, causing the ball to bounce away and continue the fast-paced match, with his team still leading thanks to his points. Soon, the ball gets passed to Yoondeok again, and he uses his strength to push the defender guarding him out of the way. The opponent, struggling to hold his ground, thinks to himself that Yoondeok is incredibly strong and big, realizing there's no way he can stop him from scoring. Taking the chance, Yoondeok throws the ball toward the basket and scores another clean shot, keeping his team in the lead. There are only 30 seconds left to go in the game now, and Yoondeok thinks to himself that Myongjin is a brilliant player, but it becomes clear over time that the match is going in favor of Class 6 instead of Class 4, and Class 4 does not have any surefire reliable means of scoring points consistently, while Class 6 has Yoondeok on their team, who is a dominant low-post scorer that can get points easily. Soon enough, this situation makes it increasingly hard and difficult for Class 4 to maintain the scoring streak that they had going, especially during the second half of the game. Finally, the time runs out and Class 6 wins the match, and it is the first time ever that Yoondeok leads his team to victory in a game like this. The next thing that Yoondeok knows, he finds himself surrounded by a cheering crowd for the first time in his life, and being the center of attention does not feel half bad at him at all. Yoondeok feels an electrifying shiver flowing through his entire body from his head all the way down to his toes. However, winning the basketball tournament does not help Class 6 very much in the overall competition, and they do not do well in the other games and events that they participate in, which means that they are still stuck in the mid-range position in the standings. Later, Taebin tells Yoondeok that to win the first prize, they have to get in top 2 in all remaining games and receive a good score in the talent show. However, Junwoo tells Yoondeok that it's time for them to finally unleash their secret weapon. Later on, during the Sirium match, Class 2 goes up against Class 6, and one of Class 2's players, Odong Kong, looks like a total beast. Yoondeok confidently tells Junwoo that he's got this, and with ease, he manages to throw Odong to the ground, winning the round. Then comes the tug-of-war game, where Yoondeok once again shows his incredible strength, pulling hard and managing to overpower every opponent in front of him. Thanks to his effort, Class 6 finishes in 3rd place overall. After all that, Yoondeok and his teammates head toward the final event of the day, the talent show, which will decide the grand winner of the entire sports day. Later, a guy announces on stage that this is the time for the first-year classes, and he thinks that it's safe that they are anticipating fierce competition with only a few points separating the current top scorers. Afterward, everyone begins their dance performances, and then the guy announces that it's time for an all-girl dance crew which are representing Class 6, whose ambition is to rock this place. Then, Yoonji and her friends arrives on the stage, and when they starts dancing, everyone starts cheering for Yoonji. Meanwhile, a guy named Yuhyuk asks his friend who that twin-tail girl is because he thinks that she looks really tall and fit. Later on, the guy announces to everyone that it is the time they have all been waiting for, and now he says that what he holds in his hand is the total score of each act that was given by the judges. Surprisingly enough, the top score goes to Class 1 instead of Class 6, which contains Yoonji's group and their performance. However, Yoonji and her crew end up placing 2nd place in their competition, and then the guy gets ready to announce the score results of each game to everyone in the gym. He thinks to himself that the results are quite surprising and unexpected, and the highest scoring classes, which are Class 1 and Class 6, have the exact same overall score as each other. Furthermore, the guy announces and says that this kind of fierce competition calls for a proper conclusion to determine the winner, so after thinking about it carefully and doing some reflection, they decide to hold a playoff round in which Class 1 and Class 6 will each give them one impromptu performance to break the tie. He says that their class representatives who performs cannot be a member who already performed in any of the previous events, and all kinds of performances are welcome and allowed. Hearing that, Class 1 starts arguing if anyone has got anything good, and then manages to send their member who starts singing on the stage. Surprisingly enough, Class 1 gives their performance first, and their guy starts to dance in a random way without any real plan, and it ends up being unexpectedly well received by the audience and judges. Next up, it is Class SIX's turn to perform, and unlike Class 1 who got through it in a spectacular way, the students from Class 6 are shifting around nervously and glancing at each other because they do not know what to do. Out of nowhere and completely unexpected, Yoonji tells Yoondeok to go up there and show everyone that he has got something special to offer, and Junwoo also forces him to go and show that he can sing really well, which will lead them to win the competition, and then he can go on his date with Yoonji afterward. After hearing that encouragement from both of them, Yoondeok finally gets up from his seat and decides to go up and sing a song in front of everyone, and he does this all because he does everything for Yoonji no matter what. The guy asks Yoondeok to introduce himself, and when Yoondeok does, the guy asks which talent of his will be sharing. All the people get shocked to see how tall Yoondeok is, but when he starts singing, everyone gets surprised how good he sounds. However, Yoondeok starts shivering so hard that he can practically hear his own heart beating. Afterward, everyone gets disappointed to see Yoondeok acting all weird because of his anxiety, and some even can't hear his voice. Just then, Yoonji yells out to Yoondeok from the crowd, telling him to use the calming technique that she taught him and to just breathe deeply. After hearing that reminder from her, Yoondeok remembers back to earlier when he was feeling so nervous that it made his wrists become stiff and hard to move. He told Yoonji at that time that every single time he attempts to take a shot, he gets so conscious and aware of all the people who are looking at him and watching, and that awareness gets him really tense and nervous. Yoonji told him to close his eyes and take a deep breath to calm himself down, and when Yoondeok does exactly how she tells him to do it, he starts feeling much better and more relaxed. She further tells him to imagine in his mind that nobody is watching him at all and that he is completely alone on the court, or he can imagine her rooting and cheering for him instead. Now, when Yoondeok tries to shoot the ball during practice, the ball goes straight into the basket without missing, and that makes Yoonji really happy to see. Back in the present time at the performance, The guy wonders to himself if he should stop the performance and call it off because Yoondeok is not starting it and just standing there. Suddenly, Yoondeok starts singing his song, and that surprises everyone in the entire gym who is watching him. While he sings, Yoondeok imagines in his mind that it is just himself and Yoonji alone together with no one else around them. After Yoondeok is finally done with his performance and finishes his song, everyone in the audience starts cheering loudly for him because they enjoyed his singing to their fullest and had a great time listening to him. With that, Yoondeok brought home the top score in the talent show and the Sports Day Champion Cup as well, but soon, Yoondeok finds him object of a wider public's attention because of Class SIX's feat in the Sports Day. On the other hand, the guy from the performance show approaches Yoonji and asks her if she is interested in joining their modeling club. Later that night, Yoondeok and Yoonji walks back home together and Yoondeok tries to tell her about the upcoming weekend, but Yoonji gets a call. Yoondeok asks her about it, so she tells him that 'tis the president of the modeling club at school who asked her if she wanted to try modeling. She explains to Yoondeok that the other day, a guy offered him a place in his club, but then that guy said that he is going to his friend's photo shoot at a boutique this weekend and Yoondeok can tag along with him if he wants to. Yoondeok says that it is great news because Yoonji herself said earlier that she wanted to try out different things and experiences here. Right after that, she asks Yoondeok what he wanted to say to her earlier, but it turns out that Yoondeok does not tell her what he was going to say. The next day he arrives and Yoondeok gives tickets to the special game to Myeongjin, but he starts crying tears of joy because he really wanted to go see his idol, who is the NBA star player Alan. However, Yoondeok thinks that the invitation certainly cemented their brotherhood, but Yoondeok couldn't focus on the match, wondering what Yoonji was doing. She sends Yoondeok pictures of herself in the studio and says that she is actually having fun there. Yoondeok finds the president of the club in the picture and he thinks that he does good look. Soon, the semi-final match against Myeongsun High, the game that would decide which school earns the ticket to the national round, is just around the corner. Before the game, the coach gathers everyone and tells them that Taeyong High has already advanced to the finals, so if they win, they'll be meeting them there. He goes on to say that their main focus right now should be on defeating Myeongsun High no matter what. The coach reminds them that if they win this match, they'll qualify for the All-Korea Games as one of their province's 2 representative teams, so they need to give it everything they've got. Furthermore, the coach says to everyone that this is his 4th year of coaching at Korea High School, and for the first time in all those years, they are on the verge of advancing to the national round of the tournament. Soon enough, the second game of the semifinals will begin very shortly, and Korea High and Myeongsun High both get onto the court to start warming up. Junwoo realizes and notices that the crowd in the gym is much bigger than usual today, and he wonders if it is because this game is the semifinals match, but Taebin points at a specific guy on the court and says that all the girls are here just to watch him play. The handsome-looking guy who is getting all the attention turns out to be Minam Gong, and he is the captain of Myeongsun High School's basketball team. Meanwhile, the other people sitting in the audience start wondering if Korea High even stands a chance against this team, but somehow one guy still finds himself rooting for Korea High to win. The ball then gets passed to Myeongjin on the court, but the opponent team's player who is guarding him thinks to himself that he does not have to worry about seeing how this short player plays the game, because he thinks that Myeongjin's height screams out his weakness and gives away his limitations. Dohun then quickly runs through from the other side of the court to try to help out his teammate, but then he quickly changes his position on the court to confuse the defense and throw them off. Myeongjin fakes a pass to Dohun to trick the defenders into thinking he is going to pass it to him, and instead he passes the ball over to Yoondeok, who is standing in a much better position to score. Right after that, Yoondeok catches the ball and throws it into the basket successfully, which shocks everyone watching in the gym because they did not expect him to make that shot. The other guy with glasses tells his team to stay focused on defense, and he thinks to himself that Myeongjin must be really fast and clever because he is so short. He further wonders that Myeongjin will not be able to do anything useful when the ball gets passed above his head where he cannot reach it. On the other hand, Yoondeok tries to throw the ball into the basket again to score, but Myeongsun High's player jumps up and blocks his shot attempt, but Yoondeok still manages to throw it up toward the basket despite the block. After seeing that play happen, the other guy thinks to himself that Yoondeok has probably been putting in a lot of weight training and practicing defense drills since he is still a noob at basketball. Right after that moment, Myeongjin gets possession of the ball and he quickly runs down the court to throw it into the basket and score points. The other guys thinks that he's running like a bullet per usual, and he's even complimenting Korea High's weakness in speed all by himself. In the second quarter of the game, Dohun gets possession of the ball and manages to throw a really good shot that goes into the basket, but then Myeongsun's captain comes face to face with Haezang on the court in a defensive matchup. On the other hand, Jaeyoung-min tries his best to hold back the glasses guy from getting open. This makes the other players think that Korea High is managing to block off Myeongsun High's perimeter shots successfully, so all their shot attempts from the outside are being defended well. In the end, the ball gets passed over to Yoondeok, who catches it, and he thinks to himself about all the hard training and difficult practice sessions that he went through because of Haezong pushing him, and now he is finally going to show everyone what he has learned and what he can do. Afterward, Yoondeok tries to back his opponent down by pushing against him and moving in toward the basket, and once the push secures him some distance and space from the defender, he quickly turns his body around and throws the ball into the basket to score points. The other guys who are watching this play happen realize that Yoondeok has got the post-up shooting technique down perfectly, and it looks smooth as hell to them, and it is even a left-handed shot, which makes it more impressive. The other guy comments and says that in such a short amount of time Yoondeok has improved so much, and if he had that move when he was playing against them in their game, they would not have been able to hold up against him either. After a while passes in the game, the other team's captain gets really frustrated with how things are going. He thinks to himself that the players of Korea High are so strong both individually as players and as a team working together. Just then, Haezong quickly runs up the court with great speed and scores another goal that surprises everyone watching because the captain from the other team falls down on the ground trying to defend him. Sometime later in the game, Korea High is in such a big lead compared to Myeongsun High's score, but then Do-hun once again drives in toward the basket with the ball. He easily throws another shot into the basket to score more points. After seeing that, Junmo thinks to himself that Goseok's defense got him feeling a bit jammed up and pressured in the last game they played, but they still managed to get it done and win. Just then, Goseok arrives out of nowhere and walks up to Junmo, and he asks him what he thinks and if Korea High can beat Myeongsun High in this game. Junmo congratulates him instead because of the scholarship offer that Goseok received from a college to play basketball. Goseok then says to Junmo that he doubts that any other team has the best chance to take the Province Cup trophy, because Korea High even has Myeongsun High flustering and struggling like that during the game. Junmo says that he already knows about this fact, and that is exactly why he made all their potential star players stay in the gym and watch this game to see what they are up against. Meanwhile, Do-hun gets possession of the ball during the play, and he quickly runs toward the basket to try to score, but then he passes the ball over to Haezong instead. Haezong quickly jumps up into the air and throws the ball into the basket to score. In the end, Korea High wins the match against Myeongsun High and proceeds to advance to the final round, and everyone on the team is so excited that Korea High has won its first ever ticket to all Korea Games tournaments. Later that day, everyone heads to a barbecue place to celebrate their big victory together. While they eat, Jiho tells Do-hun that after he left last year, no one even dared to dream about making it this far since they were completely crushed by Myeongsun High back then. Do-hun listens and thinks to himself that even though they still need to stay focused on the final match, he can't help but feel excited knowing he'll finally get to play in the national round. Then, Jukil suddenly asks if there's any kind of advantage for the team that wins the provincial final. The others explain to him that the winners of each province get matched up against the runners-up from other provinces in the round of 16, which makes their first game in the national round a bit easier to handle. However, Jiho says that it's also a matter of pride in their team. Afterward, the coach tells all of them that they were amazing today in their game, and since they have some time left until the final match happens, they may expect to go through some thorough and intense training sessions. Later that night, Yoonji and Yoondeok walk back home together like they usually do, and she tells him that it was a great game today and that he has improved a lot with his post-up moves and drilling techniques. Yoondeok then asks her about how the modeling photo shoot went, so she responds and says that the boutique owners really liked her performance, and they asked for her to come back for their next photo session that they are planning. Furthermore, she mentions and says that the club president, whose name is Yoo-hyuk, helped her out a lot during the entire photo shoot experience. Suddenly, Yoonji notices a claw machine and gets excited because she hasn't seen one in this area before. Yoondeok decides to give it a try, but the machine seems to not be working, so Yoondeok tries his best to make it work so that he can't get that puppy cat plushie for her. The next day, so many people starts coming towards Yoondeok because his classmates got excited about all Korea games. Just then, another student announces that the prize for Sports Day is a trip to the amusement park, which immediately catches Yoondeok's attention. Finally, the day of the class trip arrives, and Yoondeok gets ready, still stuck with his messy and awkward hairstyle. A while later, everyone gathers and boards the school bus, waiting for him to show up. When Yoondeok finally arrives, he surprises everyone by looking completely different, so much better that people joke he looks like Brad Pitt. Since most of the students are already paired up, Yoondeok quietly finds an empty seat for himself, but then Yoonji slips one of her headphones into his ear and tells him to listen to some music together with her. Later on, they all look at the tour map of the amusement park together, wondering where they should start their day and which rides to go first, but Yoondeok realizes that he has never passed the height restriction requirements for most rides before. Junwoo then tells Yoondeok that they are both too tall to get on most of the rides here at this amusement park, so he wonders how he was supposed to know about this problem beforehand. Junwoo and Yoondeok then tell Yoonji and the other guy to go ahead and enjoy the amusement park without them because they do not want to ruin their fun and good time with this height issue. So, Yoonji and Taebin decide to go on with another group of friends to get in line for a roller coaster ride, while Yoondeok and Junwoo are left sitting together at a bench in the park watching everyone else have fun. Just then, Yoonji arrives back at the bench and asks them what they are doing sitting here instead of going on rides. Junwoo says that they thought she went for the roller coaster with some other friends already. But she explains and says that she got too scared just by looking at the ride from the ground. Suddenly, Junwoo fakes having a stomachache and quickly runs toward the men's washroom in a hurry, leaving behind Yoondeok and Yoonji alone together. Afterward, Yoondeok and Yoonji look around the area together, and they even go inside the safari park area where they find and see a black bear in its enclosure. Then, they roam around the entire park together and try out a bunch of different things and activities that are available there. Yoonji asks someone nearby to take their picture for them, and then they take a picture together while standing really close to each other. Later, Yoondeok and Yoonji sits at a cable car ride and Yoonji thinks that they don't need roller coasters and drop towards to have fun. Yoondeok tells her that this is the first time he has ever had someone to hang out with at an amusement park, so he is really grateful for that experience with her. Meanwhile, Junwoo is punching some bags at the punching arcade machine with all his strength, and he even manages to set a new high score record on the machine. Yoondeok and Yoonji are still having fun together walking around the park, and it seemed at first that the height restrictions might get in the way of their enjoyment, but it proved to have been a blessing in disguise for both Yoondeok and Yoonji to spend time alone together. Later that night after they all get home, Yoonji sends a picture of her and Yoondeok from the park to him, and she tells Yoondeok in her message that they both look so cute together in the photo. The next day, the preparation for the province final got into full swing and Korea High already had their ticket to all Korea games, but it was a game against Taeyong High. Since they don't want to get crushed by them yet again, they had to give their absolute best, and personally, Yoondeok was determined to prove himself to their captain, whom he was to be matched up with. Yoondeok then tries to score the ball, but then Haezung blocks it. Seeing that, the coach notices something, so he calls over Yoondeok for a talk, saying it's good that he is getting more confident when going for the hoop. He adds that if he keep pulling such obvious moves in a head-on against a sold opponent, he will surely get blocked each time. On top of that, the coach goes on to explain that he has the advantage of being tall and having good height, but even with that advantage, Haezung can still block him, and the reason behind this is that he is familiar with all of his moves. The coach then tells him that it is now time for them to develop a new skill that will make full use of his height advantage with a shot that Haezung won't be able to block even when he sees it coming right at him. Later on, Yoonji asks Yoondeok if it is actually true that he started working on developing a killer move today during practice, but Yoondeok replies that it is just that his shots are all way too basic and he really needs to diversify them. Yoondeok further says that the coach told him that they are to include a new program in his after-school practice. Hearing that, Yoonji shows Yoondeok how she can throw a mid-range shot, but the ball drops in midair, so she says that her shots tend to fall short, but she knows her shooting form is alright. She then tells Yoondeok that the coach said it would be ideal if he could attempt shots from outside the paint, as well as from inside, but Yoondeok says that he is just getting solid with his low-post shots. After all of that practice, Yoondeok steps out of his comfort zone and begins working hard on his mid-range shots, and it definitely feels really different and strange compared to the paint shots he is used to taking. However, with all of Yoonji's helpful instructions and the drills she makes him do, he is able to improve his aim and his shooting form to a pretty good level that shows real progress. Once Yoondeok gets his shooting form fixed and corrected properly, it naturally leads to him throwing the ball almost perfectly into the basket, but he still misses it and the ball doesn't go in. Day after day passes by, and they work really hard together to find that perfect angle and technique that works best for Yoondeok's style. One day during their practice session, Yoonji's modeling club president shows up with some drinks for everyone. After that, they all sit down together to take a break, and the guy starts talking in a really friendly way with Yoonji, telling her all kinds of stories about different things that have been happening. He also mentions that she is having her very first photo shoot coming up this weekend. After that, Yoondeok tells Yoonji to go ahead and join the practice, but instead, she decides to take part in the photo shoot. A little later, Yoonji tells the guy that they need to start cleaning up and get ready to leave, but she'll first go use the restroom. The guy says he'll give Yoondeok a hand in the meantime. When he walks over to Yoondeok, he casually asks if Yoondeok is close to Yoonji and if he happens to know what her favorite foods are. The guy then explains that he was thinking about asking her out for dinner after the photo shoot, but Yoondeok quickly replies that he doesn't know since they've never eaten out together before. Hearing that, the guy reveals that he have a crush on Yoonji, so No is sure that there is nothing going on between both of them. The next day, Yoondeok carries on with his usual practice routine without having his special coach Yoonji there by his side to help him out. However, she does sometimes drop by and show up with drinks along with her club president. After that little conversation and chat he has with that guy during the evening that day, he starts to notice how straightforward he is when it comes to expressing his feelings in Yoonji, but he is not really sure if Yoonji is actually aware of his feelings for her. Finally, Saturday arrives and Yoondeok thinks to himself that today is the day of Yoonji's photo shoot that she mentioned before. So, he wonders about how she is doing right now. He then thinks about sending her a message to check in on her, but then he remembers that Guy and Yoonji together in his mind, so he decides not to send the message after all. Yoondeok then goes back to the boxing gym and starts training, thinking that his head is exploding with the thought of them hanging out, but all he could do is keep working on his mid-range shots. While Yoondeok keeps missing his mid-range shots at practice, Yoonji is busy doing her photo shoot at the same time, and afterward, they all head to a restaurant together for dinner. Later that night, the club president offers to walk Yoonji home, and on the way, he spots a claw machine nearby. Yoonji quickly tells him not to waste his money, explaining that the claw was too weak the last time she tried it. Ignoring her warning, he puts in some coins anyway and, surprisingly, manages to grab a dog plushie on his very first try. He happily tries to give it to her, but Yoonji smiles and tells him to keep it since she doesn't really need one. As they keep walking, Yoonji quietly thinks to herself that it's true she doesn't have a toy, but the one she really wants is the one she hopes to get from Yoondeok, not from the guy walking beside her. Meanwhile, back at the gym, the security guard tells Yoondeok that it's getting late and he should lock up and head home. Before leaving, Yoondeok picks up the ball and decides to take one last mid-range shot. This time, the ball flies smoothly through the air and lands perfectly in the basket, making him smile with relief before he finally heads out. The next day, Yoondeok heads to the gym but runs into the modeling club president, who asks Yoondeok if his match is on Saturday or Sunday. Yoondeok replies that it's on Saturday, so the guy feels relieved and says that there is a play he wanted to show Yoonji and it's on Sunday, so he was worried his match was on Sunday too. He then says that it's a small, lesser-known piece but it's got great reviews, and then he tells Yoondeok that he will be coming to the match as well. The day before the match, the coach tells the team that he encouraged them to invite their parents, as many of them will be able to make it because it's weekend. Hearing that, everyone starts chatting about how some of their parents aren't coming because they never told them about the match, while others say their parents will be there to cheer them on. As the conversation continues, Do-hun stays quiet, feeling a little sad inside. Later that day, after returning home, he takes a shower like he always does, trying to shake off the feeling. When he comes out, he notices that his mom is home and asks her what she's been doing all week. Then he asks if she's going to work tomorrow, and she replies that she probably has to, but wonders why he's asking. However, Do-hun says that he was only worried she might be pushing herself too hard, but then she turns the question around and asks him about his CSAT exam preparation. She mentions that she's noticed how he's been coming home late lately, staying at school to study extra hours, and working harder than before. Do-hun doesn't say much and just quietly listens to her words. The next day finally arrives and it's match day. A large crowd of family members and friends show up to cheer for the players. Among the spectators, there are also a few people who look like sports journalists and college recruiters, watching the game closely. Yoondeok then notices that the modeling club president also arrived, so he gets nervous and goes to the washroom. Yoonji also arrives at the place and tells him that he doesn't have to worry about the crowd at all because if he remembers correctly, he also nailed that song perfectly in the talent show they had. On top of that, she tells him that once the game starts and he gets in his zone and focuses, the nerves won't be a problem for him at all. Yoondeok thanks her for helping him out with his confidence. Right after that, Yoondeok asks her if she has any plans for tomorrow after the game, but she doesn't know about any plans apart from seeing that guy who is waiting outside for them. On their way to the game, Yoondeok asks her if they should try a bet for today's match just like they did before, saying if he scores a mid-range shot during the game, will she grant him a wish he wants. Right after that, the match begins to start and it turns out that Yoonji actually agreed with Yoondeok's challenge that he proposed to her. She wonders what got him to suggest a bet in the first place because it's usually her who starts one between them. On the other hand, Junmo tells the Korea High team players that they did a really great offense game in the last match they played. Then the match kicks off with Yoondeok passing the ball to Myongjin, who quickly tries to run up the court, but then the other team's player appears in front of him and blocks his path. He says that he is the #1 player who broke all of the Myung-sun High's ankles before, but he asks if Myongjin can beat this challenge. However, Myongjin quickly passes the ball to Do-hun instead, and that's where Seo tries to block him from making a shot, saying they haven't been matched up against each other for quite some while now, so he really misses the good old times when they used to duel against each other every single day. Right at that moment, Yoondeok arrives to do a screenplay for his teammate, while Do-hun quickly pretends to do a cut-close move. Then he does a jump shot and throws the ball toward the basket, but his shot ends up missing the hoop, and the ball gets to Junmo instead. Afterward, Taeyong gets high on offense and the coach thinks that if they fail to cut this one and they let them lead the quarter. On the other hand, Seo thinks to himself that this brings back so many memories from their youth when they were younger, and he remembers how he tried every single day to beat Do-hun in basketball. Do-hun says that Seo's shot used to be weak back in the day and that he couldn't even dribble properly with his left hand. Seo tells him to watch closely because today he's going to drive to the left side just fine. Right after saying that, Seo starts dribbling smoothly with his left hand, showing off his improved control and quickly scores the first basket for his team. Soon after, the ball goes to Myongjin, who passes it over to Yoondeok. But when an opponent tries to block Yoondeok's movement, he uses his strength to push the guy away and then passes the ball back to Do-hun instead. Then Do-hun tries to shoot the ball toward the basket, but Junmo blocks the attack completely and asks Do-hun why he didn't join Taeyong's team, because it was their dream to lift that national game trophy together. How high do you think Korea High can climb in the All-Korea Games? Comment, slam dunk, if you're ready for the next chapter in Yoondeok's journey. Make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more sports manhwa content.